Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism Towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. And greetings, family. Tonight, you're here with Bomani Tamba of Africa for the Africans Tourism Investment. And then we're also here with Sharina Coleman live in the beautiful country of Liberia. So we're very excited today to have another wonderful person that we are interviewing and socializing and just having a dialogue with about Liberia as we get ready for our historical Liberia journey of a lifetime. And that is set for these dates that I have right here of March 29th to April 9th, 2024. So that is our promo flyer. And as always, family, all the details for all of our tours you can find on our website at africafortheafricans.org. My email address and contact is there. And then you can also take a look at the photos on Facebook and YouTube of the other countries that we have traveled and journeyed on. So we're looking at our 19th year of traveling to the African continent from 2004. We've traveled to 10 different countries. And once we get to Liberia, that will be country number 11. So we're just building a program for repatriation and investment to get you clear and get you prepared for this exodus move that we're making on the African continent. And we always want to thank our ancestors for what they've did as far as laying the foundation. 200 years ago, our African ancestors from America, made a great move of building Africa's first republic. So we're going to definitely get into that. And then also you talk about Marcus Garvey 100 years ago, bold move as far as this, educating us and sharing information as far as getting us to compete on a global scale and building our future on the African continent. So, so what you have is 200 and 100 years later, you have us and you have a fresh generation of people looking to connect to Africa and looking to this, figure it out. And the more we dialogue and the more we connect to Africa, the better we can figure these things out. And it's not a world that everyone is interested in, but it's a growing world where we're trying to get more of our brothers and sisters in the Americas or in the African diaspora in general, or just in the global Black world to be open to this movement. So we can come together and just build better Black corporative economics and just figure out what we need to do to put our children and our future into a better place to compete with the rest of the world, and also build the things that we need to make ourselves more comfortable and have a more competitive and a better life in the world in general, but definitely on the African continent. So definitely, family, we're going to take you to the website later on and you can check it out. But let me get back to our scheduled connection with my good sister and family. This is the title. All right, do you have someone else that was looking to join us? Tonia Van. Is that name ring a bell?
Yes.
Perfect. That rings a bell. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that'll work. So I just added her in. And there we go. So I'm not sure if she can hear us, and if she has her, there you go. Greetings, sister. How are you?
Yes, I can hear you. Shalom. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. Welcome. We're gonna get into a nice little energy and
Thank
talk about
you.
Liberia. I do have a few questions up, which we can go through. But thank you for joining us from Liberia, so we can just get into this program. So, family, this is our topic tonight:
You're
Liberia
welcome.
Reconnection and investment in a Pan-African country built by Africans from the Americas. And you're here with Bomani Tamba and Sharina, and also we have Tonia Van.
Hello, everybody.
And let me add your name into it so we can just have your name up. Right, almost there. Right, so my sister, you are from Liberia, right? Are you from America? Tonia.
I'm from America. If you're talking to me, yes, I'm from America.
There you go. You just never know. You can never tell sometimes. Yeah, I can never tell sometimes, and sometimes I tell people, uh, yeah, that it's like connection. Because sometimes I show people a picture and I was like, "Can you tell me where the people, where people come from?" Because we do tours all the time, and then we have these group pictures, and sometimes you have people from different parts of our Black world, from Jamaica, America, and different parts of Africa.
Yes.
Especially if we have a tour in a specific country, then we have people there, and then we just put them in the picture with us, and no one can ever tell. It's amazing. It's I'm always telling people when I bring them there, I was like, "Can you tell where this person's from?" And they may name all kind of states in America. And I was like, "No, this person's from Ghana." So that's always a good thing. So let me see if it looks. There we go. So let me know if everybody names it looks good, spells correct, and everything. So family, this is the connection that you have with all three of us. I'm here in America, and both of them are. What would you consider yourself? It's so many titles people call themselves: African Americans, blacks, from Black people from America, and different things. So I always like to ask people what they consider themselves. But both of you are from America, and you're there in Liberia living.
Yes.
Excellent. So let me get into some of the questions directly, so we don't hold things too long, and I'll pull up the questions separate. All right, so perfect. So both of you, welcome to Pan Africanism Towards Nationhood, and this, if you can both take your time to just do a nice brief introduction about yourself, from where you were in America and then how you got to Liberia, and then we could just get into some more detailed questions.
Sure. I'll start. My name is Sharina Coleman. I was born and raised in New York City, actually. And I am first generation American. Both my entire family is from the Caribbean, from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I moved to Liberia about, oh my gosh, a year and 3 months now. It went by so fast. And with my sister and my brother and my husband as well. So Sonia is my sister who moved here with me as well.
Perfect, guys. That your biological sister or just a good friend? For clarity.
Well, we're not biological sisters, but you would think that we are.
Perfect. And greetings, Sonia, and hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes.
All right, can you introduce yourself, and then we're just going to get into some more detailed questions, and for you to share your information and your experience there in Liberia. But just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to Liberia.
Well, my name is Sonia Van, and me and my sister, we met through a congregation where we were connecting with one another, trying to hook up as a people that had one mind. So we met there, and from there, the Most High just moved on our lives and caused us to come together and bond quickly, and caused us to make haste and do a work, because there's something that needs to be done in a quick timing.
Perfect. And
I'm from my background. I'm from Florida.
Repeat about your background.
I'm from Florida.
And you're about to say something else after you were mentioning that you're from Florida and your background.
No, that was it.
I will appreciate the introduction. So, Sonia, you're from Florida, and Sharina, can you repeat where you're from in America?
Sure. I'm originally from New York, but before leaving the States, I was living in South Florida.
All right, perfect. So you're both connected in Florida. Excellent. New York and Florida, and I'm here in Georgia. So we're all here on the East Coast. And I'm always telling people that this is one of the most incredible parts of the world as far as Black people, because you go from the top of the North East Coast all the way to the bottom of the Southeast Coast, and you have all aspects of Black people from all single parts of the world that you can imagine, from Haiti, Jamaica, people from the West Coast of America, there to the East Coast. And we live in a beautiful, privileged, incredible place. And I'm always telling more of us that we have a vast connection here, and the more we can connect, the more we can actually do some incredible stuff here here where we are physically, but also more important on the African continent, because you talk about people who have all aspects of this, the greatest skills, talents, background, from people who have experience running governments to running major industries. You know, you can just finally, I'm not trying to just like isolate us from like the rest of the world, but I just always feel great just from living in New York, Virginia, and Georgia, and just meeting all the incredible groups of Black people that I've met. And I'm always saying, hey, family, we can do some good stuff together if we put our energy together, do cooperative economics and many things. And sometimes it's, it sounds good and everything, but with our diverse background from all over the place, we are, we have differences, and we have also been divided. So it's always trying to figure out how we can come together and figure things out and make moves together. So that's what this program is about: Pan-Africanism towards nationhood and Africa for the Africans. This building Black economics with our energy in Africa, working with our own people, so we can gel together, connect together, and realistically compete more in this global world. We see nations rising like India, China, Japan, nations that almost 80 years ago was in a different economic situation, but they've put their energy together and compete. And that's the only thing I'm always asking us and saying to us, like, let's figure it out. Let's like not take anything personal. No other people have probably been through the things that we have been through as a people, from being disconnected, enslaved, stolen, all the different words you can think of. But the good thing of it is that we're all here. We're strong, based on the fact that our ancestors fought to put us in a position where we can define what our future need to be and do great things. So here, both of you are on the African continent in Liberia. So how has that experience been since you've been in Liberia?
It's been great. I can say honestly that number one, is the best decision that I know for me that I made. For my family, I speak for them as well. And it's been incredible because we've been able to gain this sense of freedom that we didn't even know we were missing when we were living in America. And I think that's the most profound understanding, that now I'm free. So what does that mean I was doing in America? And when you answer that question, you realize, oh, wow, I guess I wasn't free there. And freedom in a number of ways. I think economic freedom is one, social freedom is another, and just the freedom to experience life as a majority versus a minority. That's been the biggest culture shock for us when we first got here. Was, oh my gosh, there are Black people everywhere, and you don't even think about you being Black in a non-majority space, which is what we come from in America, where, growing up in New York City, once I stayed in my little neighborhood, I was, surrounded by other Black people, other Black immigrants. And then once you leave and let's say go to like Manhattan or other places where there isn't as much diversity, that's the shock. And then moving to Florida, that was another shock, where it's like, okay, I went from living around Black people to now being a minority, and really knowing that you're a minority, but feeling it, very conscious of your skin color around other people. And here in Liberia, that was something that was eliminated instantly. From the moment you get off the plane, it's like, whoa, this is incredible. Matter of fact, even prior to that, getting on the plane, the connection to Liberia, that's when you start to feel the culture shock. So I'll say that.
Well, perfect. That's a nice introduction experience to just notice the difference and feeling more free and feeling more welcome. That's the big feedback we get all the time from people we take to the African continent. So that's always a special thing, because it's one of the things that we yearn for as a people, to feel at home, to feel connected, to feel wanted. So what about yourself, Sonia? Did you feel that same connection? How was your experience coming to Liberia?
Yes, I feel the same way. When I got here, I felt a relief. It's like being released from a prison. Because when we come here, we don't have to be police. We don't have to worry about if the police going to discriminate against us or stop us just because we're being us, we're breathing. It was like a sense of freedom that we never had, where everybody looked like us and we all loving one another. The people here are not violent. They're loving people. And if they get in, if they have a disruption with one another, a disagreement with one another, they come together and they talk about it and try to make peace with one another. It's not a violent nation of people that I've noticed that the people are very peaceful and loving and they join together and they move as one.
I appreciate that energy, and family. That's one of the things that we all can agree on. And those of us who have actually had experience in Africa, so we're telling you, for those who have not have had no experience in traveling or going to the African continent, these are things that we're all clearly telling you. So if you have any holdbacks, that's one of the things you can feel better at. That you're going to feel safer, because it's one of the things that you don't have people walk around with guns in their waist when when you go out to the store, the supermarket. It's like everybody around here strapped. You have the open carry law and things like that. But I don't believe we should have a society where you just have people walk around with guns like this is a wild, wild west and things. But that's what I love about Africa. Africa
Yes.
has figured out that that's the people who need to have certain weapons are the only people that need to have it. Security, police, and so on, military. So that's one of the big difference. Telling people when they travel to the African continent. And so these are some of the differences. So family, let's move on to a few more things and get into it. Now, when you're leaving America to come to Liberia, what was your path of travel as far as airlines and movement?
Sure. So we were originally booked with Air Morocco, and then that got canceled. I think that's typically the main means of getting here to Liberia from Miami, which we're from Florida. And then we were then booked on Air France, and then that was the same week, I believe, that they completely stopped their travels to West Africa due to the conflict in Mali. So then we ended up on this like crazy 3-day journey here where we were, I think the local airline that we were on was probably American Airlines. And then we ended up on a direct flight on American Airlines from New York City, JFK to Ghana. And then from Ghana, it was Kenya Airways straight here to Liberia. And it was a blessing in disguise, honestly, because when we were first planning out our itinerary, we wanted, of course, the most direct way, but then you can't stop the world conflicts that are going on that are going to put a halt to that. And so we just know that it was the best way to get here was honestly a direct flight from the US straight to West Africa. And it worked out beautifully for us. And Kenya Airways was seriously like the best airline I'd ever traveled with. So it was great. It worked out wonderfully.
Perfect, excellent. Kenya Airways. Yes, outside of Ethiopian Airways, Kenya Airways have some decent routes. But yes, Royal Air Morocco is usually what takes you around, and then another options, Ethiopian Airlines, and then I think the main options people usually use is United and Brussels. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
So family, as the country and the energy grows, there'll be more flexible options. Because I remember when I first started traveling to Ghana in 2006, it was a similar thing. It was just a few routes available, and then I'm telling people literally like 10, 15 years later, it's a different world, new airports, new infrastructure, different investors and people coming in. So I'm always just letting people know that because when unfortunately, when sometimes people think about Liberia, they just think about 20 years ago. But we have moved forward 20 years to the future, and that's a part of this. All of the struggles in different parts of Africa, you go through your civil unrest and your struggles, and then you have to rebuild it. And once you go through those motions, and you realize that we can't go back, can't go backwards anymore. So I've seen that even in Ghana, and so I'm always telling people when they ask me about Liberia, ask me if we're sure about Liberia, if we're moving in the right direction. I tell them absolutely. We have to take advantage of the countries that were built for us to make a move in, or the countries that reach out and invite us and create opportunities to where we can make our move in them. And those the only two countries that I really have is this Ghana and Liberia. And not telling people that they shouldn't go to other countries and seek out greener pastures, but we have one country that was built for us, and one country that heavily promotes Africans in the diaspora coming there, living and doing business. So when people ask me, what's my connection to these different countries, these are the two, and these are the only two that I have visions of doing investment conference and repatriation movements. Ghana, we have those things already in place, but felt like Liberia was the perfect connection to this, offer different opportunities, for people who want to, first of all, travel to Liberia, and then next of all, just get a feel, of what it is to live and do business and investments. So that's why we're, having this conversation at the same time too, and trying to get people to see that, it's real people from America, whether they are from Liberia originally and moved back, or whether it is from America and then say, hey, I'm moving to Liberia as a country to make a move in. So with all that said, I want to find out why Liberia, out of all these other countries that have been so popular, especially since Liberia has been at a disadvantage, because while more and more people are coming to Africa in the 2000s, Liberia went from basically from the top to the bottom in the last few decades, as far as this attraction for tourism and things like that.
Well, I would say that our story is a pretty interesting one, and it begins with my dad. Actually, my father had traced his genealogy for years, pretty much his whole life. He was trying to answer the question of who am I, where I came from. And growing up on the small island of Tobago, he was able to trace his direct, I guess, family line to the two slaves, both on his mom's side and his dad's side, that came to the island of Tobago. And he's only the fourth generation removed from slavery. I think we in America were so conditioned to believe that slavery happened so long ago, but it really wasn't. It was my father's great grandfather that was a slave from Liberia that ended up in Tobago. So when my father knew that, he grew up with that knowledge. He always knew where his family came from for the most part. It wasn't until about 2012 he completed the African ancestry DNA test, where he found out that he was 100% Crew from Liberia specifically. And he took that test, and as a way, of course, again, to just finish out his whole life search of who he was. And once he found that out, he immediately got the stirring in his spirit that he had to come to Liberia. He had to come and find his people. And so in 2013, that's when he first came to Liberia. And, of course, everyone tried to discourage him because it was after a war, the place is rebuilding. And that's the only image that Americans have in their mind of Liberia, more so then than, of course, now. But during that time, it was a big leap of faith that he took, just coming here, not knowing anyone. Literally, the only contact that he had was the woman in the embassy that helped him get his visa. And, people along the way of just at the airport, on the way here. He came here on blind faith completely. But when he came here, he was so welcomed, and he was so motivated to find his people, the Crew people of Liberia. And he truly took advantage of every opportunity that was given to connect with people from that tribe and connect with people that are just here in Liberia. And when he did that, it actually led to him wanting to do whatever he can to help the people here in Liberia, especially after the war. He came back and he told us, his kids, going to Liberia truly reminded him of what it was like growing up in the islands right after colonialism ended. So the British were the rulers of Trinidad and Tobago at the time in the 60s. That's when Trinidad and Tobago gained their independence. And he, told us growing up the stories of what it was like. There was no infrastructure, no electricity, nothing. Like the colonizers, they left the island completely desolate because they were done with it. Okay, now that you guys want freedom, here you go. We'll take back everything that we poured into the island, but that's it. You guys are on your own. And so he said that it was very reminiscent of that here in Liberia, where after a war, everything is torn apart. And it's like, okay, war's over, but figure it out. So having said that, for the next 10 years, from the time he arrived in 2012, 2013 to now, he spent that time periodically traveling here. And he started a small, very humble electric company because of that reason, where he's like, wow, these people have no lights because there's no electrical infrastructure here after the war. And so he started a very humble community electric company, and the community was so grateful for it, the small community that he did that in, that they actually bought a plot of land, deeded it to him, and started building him a house there. And it was a house project that took a couple of years, but ultimately he was so excited that he had a place to just live in Africa. And so once that was complete, I came here with him in 2019 for the first time. And it was an incredible experience of just coming here for the first time. It was, again, that stirring of the spirit. It's like, no, I have to go. I just have to go. I just got that sense that if I didn't go, I would have been missing out on this incredible opportunity of a lifetime. So I traveled here with my dad in 2019 and got to experience a little bit of what he experienced when he first got here, that shock of, oh my gosh, all these people look like me and I'm here for the first time. And I can't believe I'm actually in Africa, on African soil, a dream that many people have, but I'm actually experiencing. So I felt truly blessed to experience that. And after that trip in 2019, like immediately after COVID-19 started in America, and my husband and I, we knew that the world that we were living in wasn't going to be the same after that. We just got that sense, that prophetic sense that things aren't going to be the same here. And if we talk about wanting to repatriate to Africa, what's really going to be holding us back now? And that's really how it happened. In 2020, we just got that sense that we had to leave America. And in 2021, that's when it claimed clear as day that the movement was to go to Africa. We originally thought it might have been to go to the islands, to Tobago, our home there, but no, it was to come to Liberia. And I was shocked when I got that spiritual download of like, it's Liberia. I said, really? Liberia? But we took that leap of faith and we were led completely by the Spirit of the Most High to just literally sell everything that we had, move to Liberia, and start a life here on blind faith. And that's what we did. Honestly, to tell you the truth, that's how it happened, Babani.
That's a beautiful story, and these are the pioneer moves that that we have to make things work. And I think about our ancestors 200 years ago. I mean, that's even more this straight pioneer work, and that's what it takes, family, for us to get into Africa and connect. And that's the energy that we're building. So for those who are not familiar with this world of repatriation, living, investing, doing business in Africa, welcome to Pan-Africanism towards nationhood, because that's what we're about. So this is the beautiful energy of Liberia. And family, you have live people literally in a modern day time moving to Liberia. So it's and we're gonna put our energy together, and like you mentioned, once you have to rebuild, you have to do a key thing, figure it out. And the biggest thing that you have to figure it out is how you and your peers gonna make it work. So this is a part of making it work, taking up the pioneer work and making a move. Now let me go back to one thing that you mentioned. You mentioned about an electrical grid, and you're talking about in Liberia, right? Or were you talking in the island of Liberia? Yes, and you mentioned that story in reference to when the colonizers left the different parts of the Caribbean. In some cases, some of them took everything. Some took a little bit. Like you mentioned, you want independence. Here's independence. Figure it out. Build from. So it's the same thing when we have civil unrest and civil conflicts that destabilize our country and push us back. So this is our opportunity, family, for those who are looking for pioneer opportunities. We have people born in America, and also Liberians that that had to move to America, all looking to go back and make certain moves. So I'm telling you, family, you won't be alone. And then the journey that we're taking, if you just want to take a tour and you want to take a nice luxury, comfortable tour, we got you. And if you just need to get to the country, we also got you. My good brother, College Genesis, we're always working on these programs together, and that's our connection to work certain things out. So together, more and more of us are working together. And then the other Liberians that I'm working with, we're figuring things out how and we need participation from different people. As you can see, we specialize in tourism. We've done wonders in Ghana, and I feel like I could do wonders in Liberia. And this our style of just most of it is just media stuff, and then just open people's eyes up to where, they're gonna tell other people and they're gonna share their own story, and those things just all catch on. So I'm sure you've been able to influence and encourage other people to either travel to Liberia or even open to actually want to live and do business.
Well, I will say, there's always going to be two sides of a coin when it comes to the unknown, let's just say. So I'm a firm believer, of the business principle of the necessity of starving problems and feeding solutions. It's just that simple. And it's not to say that you have this blind optimism where you're just going to ignore any issues that are coming about to stop you from reaching your goal, but understanding that it's so easy to feed negative energy. It's the easiest thing in the world. But to take the strength to like put down the negative energy and instead build up the positive, because there's positive, negative to everything. And it's definitely can be said about living in Liberia, traveling to Liberia, or even just thinking about Liberia. Recently I had a cousin who lives in the UK who traveled here for the first time with a friend of hers who was originally from here, but during the war, she moved to London and had been living there for a few decades. And so my cousin was so nervous about coming to Liberia, and we were connected, and I was like, don't worry, it's going to be great. You're going to have a great time. There's always going to be issues with any vacation you take, but don't let what you hear about the place cloud your judgment once you get here. Once you get here, just have an open heart and an open mind and understand that what you're coming into, just understand the facts, but then don't let your emotions get swayed by those facts so easily. Still have an open heart and open mind about what you see and what you experience here. So I think that's one example of just connecting with someone who was expecting something different. And when they arrived, it's like, wow, this place is actually really nice. Of course it is. It's West Africa. West Africa is beautiful. As you know, Bamani, like traveling here for all these years, this place is gorgeous. And especially for our family, in the diaspora who are, let's say, stationed in the Caribbean islands, this place reminds me of Tobago so much. And I'm sure that there have been places that you visited throughout West Africa that reminded you of Jamaica.
Yes,
Because number one
Ghana
is the
is one of those
same.
countries. Ghana's always been one of those
Right.
countries. So that's why I'm looking forward to coming to Liberia, because I feel like, it's going to be the same.
Oh my gosh, everything from, like the food, the similar dialect, and just like the same similar culture, like traditions and things like that, where you're like, wow, I thought this was just island people that did it. Like, no, it's one set of people that doing the same thing, and it's great. That's what helps it be more welcoming as well.
Absolutely, and these are the things that we're telling people, especially if you like the tropical paradise of the Caribbean. West Africa is the next closest thing, and then also it's our historical home. So we're trying to make moves along different countries in West Africa. I spend half of my time traveling to Africa, not half of my time, but half of the countries in West Africa: Ghana, Togo, Benin, Senegal, and Gambia, and then Liberia will be the sixth country in the region. And I want to say it's our greatest potential and opportunity to build a reconnection movement and to actually get into industries and get into, get into the world of investment that that we only can dream of, because the things that we can do in West Africa, we're limited on what we can do here. Example, if you're looking to build a Pan-African community, you try to do that here. Good luck. You're going to be dealing with from the alphabet people to people who have issues, people who are swirling and things like that, because you're telling them that you're trying to build the same thing that everybody is building. But then when it comes to us doing these things, it's a problem. Like I tell people, when they call you all kind of nasty names and things, you tell them, hey, we were building something for our family. And just like our family from different parts of the Caribbean islands and from America came together and they made the move and built what is Liberia today. And they built it for the righteous people of today who wanted to repatriate. And we have to keep it that way. All the foolishness and the shenanigans that they keep up with here, let's not bring it over to the African continent. If you want to do foolishness, you have a country that's built for you to do all kind of foolishness in America. So do that here. Like, I'm not going to be out there protesting against whatever these people are doing, but it's like, we need to be able to have something sacred in Africa to where we can live out our righteous life, where we can actually get into truly nation building and do it unapologetic, to where we can teach our young generation of children to aspire to the greatest level of this science and technology, and literally just compete with the rest of the world, and not feeling that we don't have enough to compete. And that's another question that I have later on to talk to you about the children. But let me see what else I have on here. So before we continue with other things, what is your experience of going to other parts of Africa, or was Liberia one of those things where it's like a one and done situation? This is like your vision. You knew that this was the right place, and you don't want to go anywhere else.
Well, I'll say that when we decided to come here, it was the first time coming to Africa, period, was coming to Liberia, and seeking in prayer of where should we be going when we get to Africa, just understanding it was Liberia. And we are Hebrew Israelites, so there is a large community of Hebrew Israelites in East Africa, specifically in Tanzania and Uganda. So when we first started saying, okay, we're going to go to Africa, it's like, of course it'll be Tanzania, because that's where our people are. Yeah, we're going to connect and it'll be great. And we started making these movements of doing all the research to head out to East Africa. And then there's that tug in your heart of like, did you check in with the Most High to see if that's what he wants you to do? And once that was done, I was shocked that the answer was no. Like, I need you to be in West Africa. I need you to be in Liberia specifically. And, of course, we all come from all walks of faith. But, when you are, I guess, seeking the counsel of the Most High God in your life, and when he speaks to you and he tells you to do something, you have a choice to either be obedient to it, or you could continue through life doing it your own way. And so, as much as I was a little concerned, like, oh my gosh, going to West Africa, like, but then there's Tanzania and it looks like an island that's tropical and our people are there. And the answer was just no. I need you to go to Liberia. And that's what I say about that. We would love to travel to East Africa and connect with our people over there. But right now we know that we're stationed here in Liberia to do a very specific work, which is just to enlighten people on Liberia, period. It's not just about Ebola and war here. That's it. It's that simple.
Well, appreciate you putting a positive insight on it. And yes, Tanzania and Zanzibar Island is beautiful places. And but ultimately we have to find the right place in Africa where we can actually do the work that we need to do. And the blessing of our ancestors have connected me to West Africa, to this. Even though we travel and go to other places, which is ultimately always to draw back the energy to West Africa. Because if I take you to Tanzania or South Africa, I'm going to definitely show you the difference. And the difference is going to be, in West Africa, it's a place where we can build a future and build nationhood. In other parts of Africa, you're very limited. The laws, whether it's residency, citizenship, it doesn't really favor you in certain places. But in West Africa, that's where we've been able to make the leaps in the boundaries and the progress as far as just feeling at home. So I advise people to seek out different parts of West Africa, and then the more of us that's in the different regions, the more of us can really just come together and just do some positive, great things. I mean, because this is our time. We talk about all of these that we have the youngest generation of people on the planet, the youngest population, the youngest people, the youngest age group. I hear 18 on average, 20, 25. But all that means is that we have a core responsibility to put the things in place, because the last thing we want to do is have a whole generation or population of children, and then next the Chinese, the Indians, the Lebanese, and all the others come in, and all they're doing is building factories and industries and building everything that you need. And the only contribution that you can make to it now is your labor, which when you talk about labor, you can easily just associate it to plantation and slavery in a psychological system. And because people will say, well, people are getting paid, so it can't be slavery. And that's it's a thin line between that, because so do we want to set up ourselves for modern day slavery, or do we want to set up ourselves for modern day nation building and economic enterprise? And in order for us to do that, we'd have to bring some of our industries and ingenuity from America and other parts of the Black world and connect with what's going on in Africa. And our people in the African continent has to be open to it, because all we have is us. And I can't see any other scenarios where a group of other people are going to come in and just do all these wonderful things to you to build up your country, make you progressive and productive. They're doing it for the sake of their own nation building and their own investment. Yes, if the Chinese come and they build roads and build factories, yes, they do create economic opportunities and options for people in the country. But at the same time, too, if we just let it just flow like it's flowing now, you're going to end up in a situation where our people will own nothing and everyone else will own all aspects of life and civilization. So it's a very important thing that we have pioneers like yourself and other people to say, hey, I'm in this country, and it's not what you think it is. We're here progressing, we're here building, we're figuring it out. And how about you come and check it out, even on a tour, or think about in the future of getting yourself organized. And I do realize the more that we can put in place, the better it is for people to really connect on the future that we're building. Because we're not just saying, hey, pack up and let's come to Africa and move and do all those things. The stories and the information people that are sharing, that's their vision and their sacrifice. And yes, you can also do the same thing too, but you also need to put it in perspective of yourself being clear, organized, ready. That's why I tell people we offer consultation, we offer tours, and we offer a general communication of how you can do it and be successful. Because I realize the more of us that go to the African continent become successful, it gives our people, hopes, because sometimes when people hear some of these terrible stories, because you do have terrible stories, but I'm always telling people at the same time too, the progress that we're making in Africa far outweigh our struggles. But if we do things more on a corporate level, where it's a family or a unit of people, you have a better chance of success. So I'm telling people, a lot of the failures have been in the case of people just say, I'm going to go to Africa, I'm going to wing it, and I'm not going to deal with no African Americans. I want to go deal with the people. And I tell them that's a great mistake you're making. Never overlook your people. I mean, the people in the African continent are your people, along with the people in the diaspora. But don't just trade off your people that you have struggled with in America and been through all the things that we've been through as a people, and just think you're just going to roll into Africa and you're going to get into a certain town or community of people that you don't have a good relationship with and you haven't built anything, and it's just going to work out. Now, if you want to go there and then build a public relations and be willing to go through the trials and tribulations to get other people to connect with you, absolutely. But if you want a more successful ways, please reach out to some of us that are in the different countries that are doing certain things. Just like you and I are connecting, and we've been introduced from other people, and then the introduction from one set of people to another set of people. It's really just evolving to where we're realizing that most of us have the same mindset of focus. And so I'm telling people, hey, family, let's just we have that energy together. Let's just do it, and let's just make our ancestors proud. And as I'm saying that, and anything you want to add to it, or based on what I just mentioned, you can add on, and then we can just move to another question.
Sure. I will definitely agree with you. I mean, you have to have wisdom when you are not only traveling, relocating, anywhere you go in the world. I think it's more so here in Africa that I've experienced that people instantly know you're not from here. No matter how much you think that you look like the people that you're coming here to, like, you will stick out. And it's something that's inexplicable about you that says you're not from here. And so you have to be mindful of that and the difference in culture too. Like you said, for people to come here or anywhere in Africa to say, you know what, I'm not going to connect with any other African Americans. I'm just going to put the boots to the ground and connect with the people. You're going to be in for a rude awakening. I'm not sure what it's like in other parts of West Africa, but I do know what it's like here in Liberia, where people will eat you alive. And I'm just being honest with you. Like, people will see that you don't have any experience of the culture, don't have any experience of how money works, don't have any experience of even how the systems work here. and people will take advantage of that. And I think that that'll be anywhere. We were joking the other day that, we're from New York City, specifically Queens. But when you go to even the Bronx or Manhattan or sometimes even Brooklyn, the moment you step off the train, people know that you're not from there. It's just a look. And it's just something that I think is intrinsic to the human, that you just recognize who belongs in your surroundings and who is now entering it. So I agree with you 100%. I echo your sentiments on being very mindful that, if you're coming here to just isolate yourself and be amongst people, you have to be very, very, I guess, aware of what you're doing when you make that decision, simply because you're in for a rude awakening sometimes. And a big part of relocating anywhere is taking time to study the people, study the culture, study the laws of the land, because you're a foreigner coming in. And that's so important. It's not just a lackadaisical approach to just moving into someone else's country. You are a guest and you have to be mindful of that. So I'll leave it at there, or else I can go on and on.
Yes, it's all good to go on and on, because what we're doing is just literally just letting people know, hey, this is a phenomenal experience, and the only way I can get them to understand these experiences is by physically going to the countries myself, experiencing it and documenting it, and also just getting other people feedback. So just literally thank you for this, making yourself available and this sharing this, because I'm sure it's a lot of other people out there that's living the life you're living and to see a positive energy in the future for Liberia. But it's kind of like the rough thing of it is when you go on the Google search or YouTube search and you're typing in Liberia, it is just, the search engine is just poisoned.
Yes, it is.
So I encourage other people to literally just put out some positive energy and show their modern day updates of what's going on in Liberia. Because I think people still are like caught off with the last, the 20 years before this, and just seeing Charles Taylor and seeing, child soldiers and just those things. But I'm telling people it's the same thing when you think about Rwanda. And I still feel it,
Right.
even though Rwanda was longer, and it's psychologically does affect us. But think about all world issues over the period of time. Think about the 13 colonies, which is now 50 states of world domination, and their struggles of, and their savagery and their shortcomings and things like that. And so that's how I look at it, and that's what brought me to Ghana. Just seeing that positive energy, saying, hey, okay, in the 1980s, it was a whole lot of a lot of civilian, military, government, and different things, but they figured it out, and let's get some people there and see what the future look like. So that's why I feel so positive about Liberia, because the energy is just flowing in that direction. And the thing of it is, what I don't want people to do is I don't want them to wait 50 years later when everyone else are in Liberia, and then they literally take up all the opportunities that's there. And I'm seeing the Chinese mall. I'm seeing this development from this foreign investors, which is absolutely fine, because you do want foreign investments to come into the country, and to give it a balance. But when it's like 100% foreign investments and none from just us, it's not something that we can keep going.
I understand. And, I think the biggest thing that you can share with your audience and people that are looking to travel here is that this is the only country that I'm aware of here in West Africa where it explicitly states in their constitution that only people of Negro descent can own land and become citizens, period. So that sets Liberia apart from everywhere else.
Right.
And, just going back to thinking of East Africa, that's not possible. You can't own land there, because if you're not a citizen of those nations, it's just not going to happen. But here, you can go through the process of being a citizen. And now there's dual citizenship that just was passed here in the past 12 months here in Liberia, where you can hold your American citizenship as well as your Liberian citizenship. And we see things that are going along, with just the neighboring countries around. citizenship just based on their DNA results. And so these things, these small trickle effects are occurring in the region of West Africa, specific to, Gambia all the way down to Liberia and Ivory Coast. But we also need to be mindful that there are great opportunities that are using the American dollar here in Liberia for people of Negro descent, which I think truly sets Liberia apart from every other nation that's surrounding Liberia as well.
And family, those are the advantages that we have, and those are the significant difference of the other countries. Because one of the issues that we have had in other countries is just the laws don't favor us, and then the issues with owning and land registration and things like that. So the goal is always to get you a country that's that you can just feel at home, and you can just feel more settled, and you can just go through less trials and tribulations and things that make you feel like you just that you don't belong, or that you're not the same as everybody else as far as when it comes to the laws and comes to how things operate in the country. So that's why we are pushing Liberia for You family, because I felt the pain of some of my travelers, customers, and investors who have things have not worked out in the two main popular other countries, Ghana and Tanzania. So, and I have experience in both countries. So the stories that they say is real, and and it shouldn't stop us from wanting to do things in those countries. But if we can find a better path, something that's going to be more progressive, productive, and can work better in our favor, why not? So that's what we present Liberia. So got the dates on their family, which we'll be traveling to. So that is about a year from now, less than a year from now. And this is where we're starting from. So, and continue. Let me share the next set of questions. So one of the things I was talking about is, now that you're in Liberia, how is your daily business and general life in Liberia as far as just moving around, doing things, getting things done?
Sure. So my family and I, we actually own a couple of businesses here, believe it or not. We have our main business right now is our takeaway business. It's food. And so we do Caribbean, soul food, American. It's like a fusion takeaway and delivery business, like a Uber Eats or a DoorDash that we are brought to here in Liberia. And we're having so much fun doing it. It's an incredible experience. It truly is. We get to do what we love to do. We get to do it from our home, and we get to just interact with different people on a daily basis. And the feedback has been incredible. And we give all the glory to the Most High God, because He's the one that has set this up for us. And we are truly, truly, truly blessed to have been able to, even just the registration of our business, it was done with ease, simply because we are Americans who are wanting to be here in Liberia. I won't say that everyone is, happy for your success, but that's going to be anywhere. There's always going to be haters. But I can say definitely here in Liberia, we have people that tell us on a regular basis that they're truly rooting for our success here, and they're just happy that we're doing this. And a lot of our customers are people who have either come back from living in the States, they've come back, returned to Liberia, or they're people that have traveled to the States before and have been exposed to a different cuisine. And so the menu offerings that we offer, it's very reminiscent of things that they enjoyed experiencing while they're living in the States, and they're able to do it here. And then also there's a large population of people that are from the Caribbean that live here in Liberia. So we get to put out great Caribbean food, great soul food, and we cook with love. So I think that's been the secret sauce to our success with just food. People love, who doesn't like to eat, And the other business that we have is in natural herbal supplements. It's a business that we started in the States and we brought right here. It's called Power 7+1. And it's a healing oil. And we also have just all natural ingredients in that specific product that can heal a number of ailments. And every single ingredient, it is all natural, and it's all found here in Liberia too. So that's been an incredible transition for us to bring that business here. And we also have a hair and beard oil business that really does work to grow people's hair. And so those are the things that we've been up to here in Liberia, and it's been an incredible journey.
Well, excellent. That is a
And
beautiful
we
thing
couldn't do
right
it
there.
without, of course, the support that we have of our workers. Our workers is key. Finding good workers here, we've been blessed as well for just the support of the workforce. It's so readily available here too. And I think that it's important for people to understand that the workforce availability, like, it's key to any successful economic development that is occurring anywhere. The number one thing is workforce. And I can say honestly, here in Liberia, you have an abundance of that.
Perfect. So, family, those are some of the things we could do, family. Create economic opportunities. And now, the food that you're talking about, do you have a farm that you grow all the food that you use to cook? And I know you can't grow everything, but do you have things that you're growing?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because we have just started the very early stages of doing just that. Just starting off with a plot of land to just do our own agriculture. Before leaving the United States, that's what we were doing at our home in South Florida. We started very small, learning the tips and tricks of just having a home garden that blossomed into something larger, grew into us being able to grow the ingredients for our oil that we produce. And so the transition, again, is very easy to do that here. We lived in a tropical climate in the States. We live in a tropical climate now, and we are ready to begin our production of the crops that we have here that's available to us. So it's in the works.
That's perfect. That's the vision, family, and the same vision I have when we're building our community. You grow all the things you need, and then you create this dynamic restaurant to where you have an infusion of the food that Black people eat. It's
That's right.
when you're somewhere local, it's what it is. You're used to local flavors and everything, and that's fine. But it's like we're trying to take it to another level. When I'm telling people about our tropical cuisine, like you mentioned, you're taking aspects of recipes from that's infused in the Caribbean islands, here also in America, and there in Liberia. So that's a win-win-win situation. I mean, and that and when you're going on your vacation, your holidays, or you're just visiting places, that's one of the things that you want to enjoy, and that's one of the things that we specialize in our tours. We want to make sure that we have great dining, lunch, and dinner. So definitely have to talk and connect with you more, because that's one of the things that we have a few restaurants there, and definitely want to incorporate what you're doing to come and connect with you on some lunch or dinner, 1 or 2 days and things like that. And our goal is to just taste all these international tropical cuisine, because I went to a Liberia banquet last month. It just seemed like it was so long ago, but it was last month here in Georgia, and it was my first taste of Liberian food, and it was perfect. It was on point, and people like myself from Jamaica that we're picky about our tropical food, and because you're used to being in an island where you built a world of specialty cuisine to where it's all over the world now. So when you go places, like the jollof rice was incredible, and they didn't do the things that frustrate me when I go to Senegal and the Gambia. When I got to tell them, I was like, I have a group of people, they're vegans, vegetarians, and things like that. We can't have you making any type of rice and putting meat in it. And so I tell them, don't even argue with me. Just follow the directions, because no matter what you tell me, if it's not done as the customers want it, we're gonna have problems. And if if I have problems with them, then you're gonna have problems with me, and you're gonna lose business and things like that. And some people, it's just hard to get it in their heads, but I just realized that some people get it. Like I've never been to Sierra Leone either, and I'm sure when you go there, they get it. There's just something about like the energy of Liberia and Sierra Leone where it's just connected to that experience of, and then it should be that way, and it makes sense because you talk about Black people from the Caribbean islands, from America, that were part of that foundation of both countries. So I would automatically say that they got the best dining, the best dining. And you can also tell me, since you've been there, because I'm sure you've been to other Liberian restaurants, and then order different things. I'm sure you can tell me about the dining compared to other dining experience that you have had.
Well, to be honest with you, there are almost two dining experiences here in Liberia. There are the experiences that are catered towards foreigners that are living here, which would be more of eating at the hotels and eating at restaurants that are actually pretty much owned by foreigners, but you have Liberian cooks that are working in the back to prepare these European, Arabic dishes here in Liberia for the people that can afford to eat at those prices that they have them at. And then the other dining experience is pretty much street food, kobo shops, and that's the real essence of like Liberian food. Different experiences, different target customer, different price point, and they're both great because when we first came here, that's what we were used to, you know, dining out, experiencing different cuisine. And especially where we were from in South Florida, that was very popular because you have so many different people that live there. You have Hispanic food, you have Caribbean food, and then you have Southern food. And so we enjoyed doing that when we lived in the States. But then, you know, you come here and you're like, okay, great, we'll just continue that life. And it's like, it's not the same. It's not the same. Dining out here is not quite the same. And also the options are limited. And that's truly what motivated us to start cooking and starting our business was we were sick of trying to, you know, keeping up with the 4 or 5 options that were to our liking. Because after a while, you get sick of it and you want variety. And then also the support of your people doing business. And so that's what I can say about the dining experience here. It's two very different experiences. The people who are providing it, either foreigners cooking for foreigners or locals cooking for locals. I think that's the best way I can put it, Bamani.
Sorry.
Oh.
How was the local experience as far as you know, going to a restaurant where it's just more so infused with local dishes, even though they may have a international feel to it. Like an example, I have to look back on our itinerary, D Calabash, and I'm trying to remember the restaurant called Fusion. I'm gonna look up the itinerary also because I do have them on the itinerary as far as a welcome and a farewell dinner.
Mm-hmm.
How are those restaurants and how are the actual menu and
Yeah,
how food?
those are the greatest experiences, honestly, when you can go to a restaurant like D Calabash, where it's a local owned eatery that's providing a more expansive cuisine, you know, like a little bit more upscale. It's awesome. It's amazing. That's like the best experience because you get to taste Liberian food, but in an environment that you're probably more familiar with as a foreigner, and the ability to taste food that is made local dishes. There are some that are very, very popular, like palm butter and potato greens. Those are things that are staples of Liberian cuisine. And it's great to be able to go to a restaurant like D Calabash and be able to eat their version of these local dishes. So that's the best experience, to be honest with you. You've done a great job with selecting places that will be able to experience that. My family and I, we a lot of your overnights there. And that's another great example of a place that is, they know that they're catering towards people that are coming in as foreigners, but they're also very mindful of being able to provide authentic Liberian dishes to people that are wanting a taste of that in that environment.
And that's what we're looking to come to experience. And another one was Fusion d'Afrique. Those are so that was the welcome, and then the calabash was the farewell dinner. So trying to get us in a space where we can have fine dining family. So that's a part of the Liberia journey that we're talking about with our sister, and we're gonna wait for her to reconnect. And while she's reconnecting, again, this is our dates and our flyer for our Liberia Journey of a Lifetime. And you can find all information on our website at africafortheafricans.org. And that's our goal, is to give you that truly journey of a lifetime experience. So we're talking about different aspects of it. And as our sister is returning, as we mentioned, family, she's talking about the Calabash experience. The other restaurant is Fusion. Let me actually just pull up the itinerary. It's actually Fusion d'Afrique. Are you familiar with that one also?
Yes, I am. Told you we love food, so we're familiar with almost every eatery here in Monrovia.
Oh, perfect.
Absolutely, that's another great example of it.
So those
That's
two that
another
I'm
great example of an eatery that is using that. You said
and
what?
and those are the two restaurants you say that have the combination of food that we're talking about. International food infused with this local culture of food, because
Absolutely.
that is our goal, to get people fine dining. So in combination of those two restaurants, how much difference is the food that you have? And then someone wanted to know about your location and how do they order food or how do they connect with you?
Sure. So in terms of the differences, I think that the biggest difference is that we offer Caribbean food and soul food. And I wouldn't say no one is doing that here, but we have yet to come across a an eatery that is doing that specific fusion. There's a lot of Liberian fusion places, Liberian like Lebanese, but in terms of like Caribbean American food, no, I think we got that one. And that's what sets us apart from other people that are doing exactly what we're doing too. And people are always looking for, especially if you have a more refined palate, you are looking for good food that tastes great. And the one thing I can say about Liberians is that they can truly cook great food, honestly. So I think that if there's any opportunity for you to experience like an authentic chef that's from Liberia to help elevate your experience for your guests, I would recommend that strongly as well, so that people can taste the authentic Liberian food that is prepared either privately, because that makes a big difference too, honestly. Privately prepared versus commercially prepared. So I will say that 2 cents. And in terms of our specific eatery, you can find us on Facebook under Yas Gold Caribbean Soul. And we also are on Instagram at Ya Gold Carib Soul. And both are ways that we reach out to our customers. We promote our specials and our menu offerings weekly and daily. And that's honestly how we take orders too, is through Instagram, people reaching out to us directly, and our regular customers touching base with us on a daily basis to place their daily order from us. And of course, giving us a regular old phone a call is another way that we take orders a lot too.
Well, perfect. That is what I'm talking about, family. So if you can text me that information, I'll just copy it and post it so
Oh, yes.
everyone can see it and so on. So whenever you have a minute, you can do that. And what I want to do for now is take a short break and just play. And we can just still get back into dining because I want to let people know, and I'm serious when I'm talking about dining. I think about all the phenomenal experience, Brazil, Jamaica, all over the world. And I'm not trying to insult and embarrass anyone, but we have people taking people to roadside restaurants, which is fine because if that's what they sign up for, that's what you sign up for. That's what I'm always telling people. You sign up for a luxury experience in dining. And, if you have 10 days, the worst I would say is you at least get 8 great meals and the other 2 may be okay. You have to, if you're making your way around and trying different things, you're gonna, get that situation. But it's part of the experience. But what I'm telling people, because I don't want people to think I'm in association with this, I'm not taking you to no place where you're gonna be eating bush meats and rodents and things like that, because you have a diverse amount of cuisine. Some people, depends on what country, you may have certain things on the menu. That's like if you went to Korea, they got all kind of crazy things on the menu. And I'm always telling people, like, if you eat dog, that's your business. Don't like put me in that situation, and get me sick or get me this, and don't tell me about, don't try it, don't knock it until you try it. It's like some of us have our diets, and it's what it is. Some are vegan, vegetarian, and things like that. And I feel like they can still have great cuisine, but people don't want to be forced to eat animals and rodents that's not part of their makeup. And half of my group is, they have those specific diets. So I always want to make sure that the people that we're talking to, we're dealing with, let them know, there's no disrespect, but if you don't have a cuisine and menu options like what we need, we just can't go there, because I'm gonna have a lot of trouble on my hands, and I don't like dealing with trouble. I specialize in accommodating people, and we want to make sure accommodations is as best as we can make it. Regardless of whatever country you're in. And one of the things you can always get right is food. Yeah, and things like that. So appreciate you going into the details as far as like the difference, because one of the things that like in Ghana, they have one restaurant, it's called Jamrock. It's a combination of Ghanaian food and Jamaican dishes. The husband is from Jamaica and the wife is from Ghana. So that's more of like literally, honestly, I tell people straight up, that's the flavor we're looking for. And then when you tell them, hey, make sure certain things don't have meat in it because people are vegetarian, they get it, and things like that. I'm telling you, I'm sharing this experience because they were trying to fight me in Senegal and the Gambia. And I told them I've experienced certain things in both countries, but when I'm doing this kind of international tourism business, certain dining experience, I can't. If people say, "Hey, Bomani, I want this," I'll say, "Hey, you know what? Those who want it," like I did in Senegal, I end up having to go into damage control. So I said, "All right, for those who agree with this dining that I was sabotaging and not, and set up for, you can enjoy this experience. And for those who are not, come with me, and I'll take you somewhere else." And I took them to a restaurant that had all the things that and they were excited because it's just the look on their face when they saw it. It's one of those at home dining where you dine with people at their home, but for people, but it was a home where people just specifically eat all kind of meat, lamb, beef, all kind of things. So sometimes I have to just get on some of my guides and explain to them, because like after traveling me for 2 years, and they was like, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't eat chicken or didn't eat this." I was like, "Are you serious? We talk about dining all the time, and you don't, so the things that we talk about and have serious conversation with, because I mean, you just have to see the look on people's face if you bring them somewhere and it's not with what they want to eat, and they'll spend a lot of money on on the tour package. So we collect certain percentage of the money for dining, and sometimes I tell people, "Hey, we're just gonna spend the money." Like, this is too much money and things like that. But it's like, you want to make sure that the people feel satisfied in the country. If like when they go back to America, like, I was in Liberia, I had the best jollof rice. They can say what they want to say about Senegal and Gambia, but I had the best jollof rice in Liberia. And I went to this place and they was cooking jollof rice with a fusion of the Caribbean style, just like the rice and peas and everything. And I was just, because people dwell on the dining experience. So I have lots of videos where we have plates. We take pictures of people showing plates at restaurants, and you can just hover over like all of the incredible things that people order to eat. And it's just one of the important important experience literally in tourism. Just like your lodging, you can,
For sure.
your lodging, you're gonna be limited. If I take you out to the middle of the country, it's only so much you can get. And things like that. So that being said, let me know if you want to say anything else about dining food and accommodating people for what they want to eat versus forcing them to just go local all the way.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with you 100%. You have to be very careful of where you're eating because, my family and I, we kind of follow pretty strict dietary laws. So we don't eat shellfish, we don't eat pork, and the meats that we do eat, like we're very, very, very serious about not including anything that we're not supposed to be eating in our diet. And when we first got here, everyone wants to make food for you, and it's great. Okay, we thank you so much. But then you open a pot, and you're like, "What is that in there? Is that a crab shell? Is that a pig foot?" Like, no, I'm so sorry. And you don't want to insult anyone either, because you want to be very mindful of people's culture. So that's the balance of why you have to be very careful of where you're eating from, because you don't know what people are putting in as their normal cultural cuisine that is the expectation of how to prepare a dish. And then you're coming along as a foreigner, is like, "Ooh, but I won't eat like half the things in that pot." So you gotta be polite too. But when you go to a lot of the eateries here, the good news is that because they are, you know, geared towards a diverse foreign market, a lot of the places don't have pork or shellfish, for instance, in our example, already like in their stock, or something that might be a part of a base of their recipes. So that's helpful, because they know that there are a lot of other people that are traveling from either Arabic countries, or just, you know, who are maybe Muslim or Hindu. You know, there's a lot of people that are living here in Liberia that aren't from here, who have different dietary laws. So going to a restaurant like, you know, Fusion or D Calabash, you know, you just got to be mindful of just confirming with the chef, please, I just need to confirm that there is no X, Y, and Z in this dish. And then you actually have someone going back and talking to a chef to confirm, coming back to you saying, no, we've confirmed that this doesn't have it, this does, great. But if you're just, you know, kind of winging it on the street, you can't really confirm what the mystery meat is all the time, you know? And we just rather not take a chance. So I just wanted to share that. Like, yes, the great experience about eating at an established fine dining restaurant here in Liberia, if you have dietary restrictions, is that they're very accommodating and very professional, extremely professional. And so that's what's great about being here too. Living here with dietary restrictions.
Well, that's perfect, God. That's one of the great accommodations. So just letting our viewers understand that, you know, because people have these big questions all the time. What are we going to eat? And so, you know, Sam, in the last 10 minutes, we have explained it, and that is what you're going to be eating, either at a hotel restaurant or at a restaurant with different universal menus to accommodate your diets. And, you know, when we connect with you, you know, look forward to the same experience. Now, some of the things I wanted to ask you before we even continue, as far as from the Caribbean side of the dishes, will you cook like kalalu, aki, things like breadfruit, any of those things?
Well, actually, because my family is from Trinidad and Tobago, more of the Caribbean dishes are from that particular region of the Caribbean. So more of the East Indian influences of curry goat, curry chicken, roti. Today, we actually brought out for the first time for our customers a Trinidadian lunch special. I don't know if they have this in Jamaica, where, you know, typically on Sundays, you have this big spread for lunch. And so that's what we did today. So we had barbecue chicken with stew beef, with rice, stew peas, and we had that all packaged as one, with even like a piece of homemade pound cake, and our customers loved it. And that's the kind of fusion that we like to do, is like bringing the Caribbean influences with the Caribbean soul. And some days we do our like barbecue feast, where we're doing baked beans, barbecue chicken, barbecue beef ribs with, you know, like what else did we make with that when we made it? We did the barbecue, and then like baked macaroni and cheese, which people love here. And it's like this incredible thing that we get to bring here. And a lot of the feedback that we get when we do these big dishes is that, wow, this is so great, because this reminds me of this place that I used to eat at in New Jersey, or it reminds me of this place that I used to eat at in Atlanta. And so it's really cool to be like, wow, we're very humbled when we get that feedback. And it really is just making things that we would eat ourselves, honestly. Truth be told.
There you go, family. So I'm hoping that you understand, family, that you're going to get great dining when you associate with us, and we'll never tug you to a country and tell you to do something otherwise. So that's one of the things that's clear. And so now let's I want to play this reunion video, this short promo. You can just tell me what you think of it, and you could just, and I'll just put it on full screen. So if you need to make a move and so on, you can also do that. So here we go.
Okay.
This is it right here. Have you seen this video based on title?
No.
All right. So there's a few of these videos, you know, to promote Liberia. it's not a whole lot of them, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not really out there like that. But I'm trying to just also promote some of them while we just do these conversations about Liberia. All right, so
Great.
family, this is the Liberia of the Diaspora Reunion 2021 and 2022.
I left Liberia. It's my first time back in 37 years. God have made this land, oh my people. You can take out my brother, you can take my brother out of me. Oh, Mr. John, amen? He said you don't want to go to 12 wives. I'll take them. I'll take the 12 wives.
Bless you. And he is. I'm humble. I know. So I wouldn't miss this opportunity. My mom and dad would have been so proud.
So we're praying that in our lifetime we will see the transformation for Africa. And I think it's going to get better.
I know it is. And now as I look back and I remember how Liberia was perceived when I first came and how it's perceived now amongst African Americans who can put a cogent sentence together, it's changed. And I think people like yourself, young people, particularly females, particularly women, carry the torch and kick down the doors and make it happen. So now 2 of us are moving in the same direction. 3 of us, 4 of us, 5. And the numbers grow, we move faster. We'll get to where God wants us to be.
Absolument.
I'm Jennifer Bacon. Representative Peter Ricks. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, sir. Pardon me for not rising.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen, sir. Thank you. We can utilize our skills and our experience to enlighten the Liberian youth as to how they can affect things positively and dramatically and economically for the country's good. It's been quite a while since I've been here, but it always feels like home when I return. So I'm looking forward to as much time as I can spend amongst my Liberian friends. The food was wonderful. I love my cassava leaf, my palm butter. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and enjoying a good Liberian meal again. But so many wonderful memories of the things that I saw, the people I met, and the way I was treated. It's unforgettable.
That's amazing.
But it was truly a memorable experience, and I'm so grateful to God to be back home again. It is very familiar to me, and it is an extension of my own home. So thank you, Liberia, for welcoming me back. I felt so comfortable in Liberia. I felt totally devoid of any pressures from segregation, racism, or whatever. I felt like a drop of water, salt water in the ocean. I felt at home. And every time I come, every time I come to Liberia, and I'm not arguing now, this is God saying, tell the truth, John, I'll put the words in your mouth. I felt at home. I felt for the first time I was someplace where I truly, truly, truly belonged and would be made to feel welcome. So Liberia is home to me. I could say I have been there. I have walked amongst the people. I have lived amongst them. I have eaten their food. I've become familiar with the culture, and I love it. To me, this is so filled with opportunity for all of us, whether you decide to become an artist or not, if you're in construction, if you're in business, whatever your aspirations are. I feel, I know in my heart, you can accomplish them here in Liberia. Anything is possible. I am proof of that. Thank you. Thank you all, and God bless you all.
Yes, family. So that was one of the Liberian videos to promote the country and push the year of the diaspora, us reconnecting to Liberia. So Sharina, when you're on this, let me know. So yeah, so that's one
I'm
of
here.
the videos, and with John Amos, he's been one of the brothers to really just push that energy and share his experience in Liberia. And yeah, so I'm not sure if you have seen him around or if you heard of him around.
It was my first time seeing that video, but John Amos, you know, just understanding his documented travels here, it inspired me before coming here, because about Liberia putting out the negative energy of Liberia, it's going to be received. So you choose which one you want to push out. And it's so grateful to see someone of his caliber and his just status of who he is to be able to now take up the positive light. So it's incredible.
John Amos, and you know, the thing of it is that we just need more people, you know, to just push that energy, and you know, it will grow.
Uh-oh.
And this is another video that I'm just lining up. All right, that's. So how do you see the tourism energy and the promotion of Liberia coming along? I was saying, how do you see, you know, based on even the video, how do you see the promotion of Liberia in the year of return of the diaspora coming along? Is it like a lot of energy out there and it's growing?
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, being here during that time period in 2022 when there was promotion of that, you know, you saw some of the, but maybe it's because we're here and it's not being promoted to us because we're here.
Right.
But I didn't feel that the energy was as big as it might have been, like what they did for the 2019 return to Ghana. It definitely wasn't to that scale of magnitude, for sure. I think that what is occurring here in Liberia is more of the grassroots word of mouth, like what you and I are doing right now. That's how I think the word is getting out more about coming back to Liberia versus, you know, a huge promotion that's being done about it. I think I wish that it were more, honestly, to be honest with you.
Yes, by the looks of it, it seemed like it was a small foundation operation, which is okay because you have to start somewhere. So, and then you know, as time go along, you know, we just build it up and build it up. Fortunately, Ghana had that momentum, and you know, so but the good thing of it is, the more and more of us has put the energy into Liberia, you know, we can just get similar outcomes because you know it deserved that light and that energy, you know. Especially with, you know,
for sure,
since you know, it was, you know, something built for us, and then more of us are looking to make that move. Yeah,
that's right. You know, understanding too that not everything is for everybody, you know. So I think that the people that Liberia is for, it's going to be for them. The people that, you know, relocating or repatriating to Ghana is for, it's going to be for them. And that's okay, because there's a whole nation of people that have this stirring to come to West Africa and do their small part in making that connection to just do it. So that's my 2
That's perfect. So that's it, family. So connect where you fit in,
cents on
and
that.
connect, definitely where you fit in. And just want to let you know, family, this is one of the options that we have, that we're sharing as we begin to just share with you, more and more of Africa, beyond what we have built and set up in Ghana. So we're not trying to replace Ghana. We're not trying to stop what we're doing there, but realize that we have to grow and expand as a business enterprise and operation, and or else we'll miss out on incredible opportunities. So I'm happy to be connected to Liberia, and to be able to this bring our energy in, which is our tourism investment group. So looking forward to that. So the next set of questions I have is, how is the energy in the country, elections, investment, infrastructure, and culture?
That's a great question. So there is an election that's going to be occurring later on this year. So there's a lot of energy that's surrounding that. And it's specific to the re-election of the current president here, George Manaweya. And so there's a lot of energy of just, I guess, encouraging people to come out and vote. And I think that also spurs a little bit more of the push that's necessary to see a lot of infrastructure projects that are underway currently. And so we get to actually live the experience of, I guess, the blessing of that happening. An election is happening, so that's motivating people to do more, to demonstrate that a lot is already being done. Therefore, the current administration should be reelected. So it's great. And a wonderful example is that the main road that takes you from the city out to one direction of towards like Margibi County, that road, and actually ultimately leads to the airport. That road, when we first got here, was under construction. But we are always so surprised whenever we go in that direction when we leave town, that, wow, the road project is really happening, and it's happening so fast. So that's one of the blessings, again, that you're seeing the infrastructure at this exponential speed. And I think it's directly related to an upcoming election. And I think that also leads into the promotion of culture as well. And we have a good friend who's from Nigeria who actually owns a resort here. And his vision was just strictly to bring more of the homegrown culture and just expose that to people that are traveling from West Africa, all throughout West Africa, through all of Africa, to come to Liberia and just celebrate their culture. And he told us flat out, my goal is just to make this place for us, our people, so that we can experience our own culture and not feel that there's something wrong with the culture that we have, because that's what it's been for so long. Again, with that old colonial mindset, unless you are being, I guess, assimilated, you're nothing, And so that's what we see here in Liberia. But it's great to see that there is this new injection of is geared towards the promotion of culture and heritage here in Liberia. It's all happening all at one time, and it's great. And like I mentioned, my family's from the Caribbean, and I have firsthand experience of what it was like when the government really just put a lot of energy into like the Tobago heritage, where there were events that were leading up to an annual celebration of the African history that took place in the island of Tobago. And I saw that it's a huge success, which then led into an annual jazz festival, which then led into all of these other annual events specifically geared towards people coming from foreign to come back to the island to celebrate the island and celebrate the rich history of the island. So I see what's going on here now in Liberia as the beginning stages of leading up to annual events and other opportunities for people to just return home, celebrate being home, celebrate the culture of home, and either you stay home or you go back with the hopes of you returning again to do the same celebration in a year. And that's just my personal opinion and my personal view of what I've seen being here for the past year. is that there is definitely a movement, and one of them is that promotion of the land of return. And just having people abroad understand that, yes, Liberia is where we're from and we want to come back, and seeing foreigners come to Liberia is another great motivator. Even though my family isn't like specifically tied to being from Liberia so per se, there's still that motivation to be here. And I pray that people will see that, if you're from Liberia, there are people that are interested in being here in Liberia, just like you are so excited to bring your tour here in 2024. I pray that more people will see that and be like, wait a minute, these people are coming to my place. No, I want to go to my place now. And I pray that that's going to be one of the byproducts of more people seeing the positive light and the more positive views of Liberia in a specific tourism lens. I think that that's key. It's one thing to see what people are doing here day to day, but it's another thing to see it from the view of a well-planned, I guess, execution of tourism specific to coming here to Liberia. That's something that I know I did not see before leaving America, as I was, scrubbing the internet for any video I can find about Liberia. I did not see a lot about the tourism. And I think as more people are coming here, more people are returning here, we're going to see more of that. And I think that that's going to be in itself a snowball effect of pushing the culture of Liberia out to the world as well. I pray that that answers your question well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I appreciate the full and in-depth breakdown from infrastructure, elections, culture, and just the future energy of Liberia. And as we talk about family, the country is growing. So these things just don't happen overnight. But the more of us that can participate, from things like us getting visas to go to the country, us patronizing different aspects of this, us doing a tour schedule in the country, all those things help because it's foreign exchange. The government love foreign exchange. So it's an important part of our
Right.
government and the country. That's why most countries around the world push tourism. And one of the things that we have to boost up more is tourism in Africa. And that's what we specialize in. I was talking to these two guys. One was from Cameroon and one was from Ghana, and they the whole time they just kept on hating on my tourism business. Talking about it doesn't take any specific skills and things like that, and I was, and I also like to tell people even before, did this kind of business, I did professional aircraft technical work, and then we never stopped doing IT technology work. That's just a lifetime business. But when you're trying to do this kind of business, it takes on a whole different level of skills, a whole different level of administrative and taking care of. But these guys are trolls. But so no matter what you say, they're gonna always have an issue with it, because either they have an issue with you marketing a country that's not their country, or they just have an issue with the fact that that they're failures in life, unfortunately. But it's like we're trying to galvanize more energy for us to like push energy to Africa. Like one from Cameroon was telling me that it doesn't, that Cameroon doesn't need our help and our support and things like that. And I was like, you shouldn't speak for the people in your country just because you're here in America and you're living well. People appreciate the business when you come into people's restaurants, you come into their hotels, and you're supporting the energy. Everyone that's in business, you depend on customers and clientele. So the more, so I'm always telling people, spend some of this these black dollars with black enterprises, domestic and international.
That's
I mean, that's
right.
one of the things I push to the highest level. It's like preaching the gospel, and just as a business that's benefit from black support, it wouldn't make sense to take all of your, all of that energy and then they'll spend all of the money with, you're limited on when it comes to like the airlines and certain other things, but you have to find ways to like say, hey, I'm going to build energy with a black owned enterprise, and we're going to support that energy, and we're going to work together, and we're going to build it together. I mean, it's one of the things, you're trying to get more people understand, like, let's get away from the selfish mentality and things like that. And,
Yep.
I see how it affects people. We get more hate comments than we got today. But I tell people, when people stop doing those things, then you have a problem. Because it's and it shouldn't make other people feel guilty about themselves. I tell people, no matter where you are, you can step it up, and you can, we all of us have been in our life where we made a transformation to say, hey, I'm going to dedicate more of myself and my energy to uplift Africa, to invest in Black-owned business, to work with my brothers and sisters, whether it's here in America or wherever, so we can kind of just get on our energy where we know we can just build for the future. Because I'm telling people, they gotta literally think about all these children. All these children you have is like, you can't no longer tell them go get a good education, get a good job. If you have a group of Koreans that run a business and they decide they're gonna hire more Koreans than anything else, I mean, what are you gonna do? Go to the labor place and file a racism suit against them? It's self-determination situations where people are gonna say, hey, I don't have enough opportunities for you because I gotta employ my people and I gotta employ my family and things like that. So
Right.
that's why we have to open up to the future of Africa, and the future of us just saying, hey, I'm gonna help grow Black-owned enterprises globally. That's why we started off at the beginning. I always talk about building a global Black business pipeline. So I'm always telling people, no matter how much you want to hate on whatever other people are doing, does that make sense to you? If more of us was in business and supporting each other, would that help the rest of us? Think beyond yourself. And these are things that they can never answer, because they realize that it's real. But you try to just encourage people, even the haters, encourage them to do better, because it's a situation that we face where we know we have lost a lot of momentum, and we depend on Black people spending and investing and doing business with Black-owned enterprises. If we have a group project that's a land development project, more than likely we're gonna have to depend on us to put the energy together to get it worked out. And ultimately, all these things that you do, I'm telling everyone that it's gonna benefit our children, because most of us didn't have the same opportunities that the last generation had, to where like none of us were born into wealth or business or anything. All of us right now, we're currently building that for the future. I mean, think about the dynamics of 20, 30 years ago. Not saying that pre-civil rights that people didn't have Black enterprises, because I always have people take me back there and say we're enterprising, and that's fine. But what we're doing in a modern day world, in a globalized world, since now we have to just compete with the rest of the world, we're creating enterprises and opportunities for ourselves. And I try to showcase those as much as possible. I have more setup. I have a better setup in Ghana, because I build relationship with people from different parts of the world, where we go to their place and you're like, hey, this person's from Chicago, this person's from California, this person's from Jamaica, this person is a Ghanaian that we met on the plane and we networked, and we started staying at his hotel, and you're just trying to encourage, so all the tours we always have, or not, we always do a high level of networking, and just really push it, because the networking circle is incredible, and I just feel like we just need to use it more and more. So when we come in here to the country, I'm always telling people, like, from fashion shows to pool parties to business conference to us socializing, out eating dinner together, to people that the new people that we're meeting and people that we've known before, and then literally just documenting all of it and just showing the world. And so when you're on YouTube, that's what you see me at, and it's like you're looking around and see which country is this guy at next. But I told people he was in Senegal, Gambia, Ghana, and Tanzania, the last few countries in the last 5 months, and we're going to a few more. And it's trying to just, it's like when it's like striking while iron is hot, and it's like an COVID-19 didn't stop us from going to Africa, but before then it was like an incredible moment or momentum building up, and then that kind of slowed it down. And people like myself was like, nah, don't fall for the trick. This good things are gonna happen in the world that we live in, and it's, you either have to stick with a game plan, or you just let it just wear you out and then just depress you. Like, I've talked to some people and they're in their homes and they don't want to talk to nobody, they don't want to deal with people. And I told them, yes, the last few years it's been rough, but it's like these are the trials and tribulations you go through to show people that, hey, we can get to what we need to get to, because we need to still focus on Africa. Because while we're going through what we're going through, the foreigners, the invaders, the colonizers, whoever you want to call them, they're seeing that, hey, this is the final frontier of the greatest level of investments and future development that the world is going to see. I mean, you can't build much of anything in the Asian countries anymore. America and Europe is tapped out, and North Africa, Northeast Africa, they have a whole mind of their own to do their own development and their own things using all their rich resources that they have. And so now we're stuck with the rest of Africa, and it's like, okay, it's getting smaller and smaller. Soon we're all going to be down to just West Africa, and if we don't make it certain moves, we're literally going to lack or no ownership in the world, even in our own continent. Because I told people the situation in East Africa, you go there, is just dominated by the Asians, literally. And you'll see this a group of Asians managing, especially like Indians and group of local people there that's working. And you go to South Africa, the same thing. So and you go to West Africa, that's our opportunity. So that's why you hear me promoting the energy in West Africa. And three out of four countries I just came back from was in West Africa, and then most of the next set of countries are in West Africa. So we're gonna put the work in, family, and we're gonna literally just give you as much visuals, because I think people don't see enough updated visuals of modern day Liberia and the growth, the development, and the construction, certain things. But I'm telling people, I landed in Ghana in 2006. That airport was a piece of work. The roads, everything around it was a piece of work. Then you fast forward 10 years later, there's a whole different world there. It's one of the most incredible piece of infrastructure, from the airport city, to everything in and out of the city. I mean, it's beautiful. So that's those are the things that's going to happen, family. People like myself are not fortune tellers, but you predict the trends and things like that. Just like I was telling people 20 years ago that there's going to be a country like Ghana, and it's going to be just growing, and more people are going to go, and things like that. And because before we even got into this business, we're just we did study groups after study groups, and you're plotting trends of our people from going back 200-300 years ago, and of the movement of Pan-Africanism. And this is inevitable. It was going to get to the situation where even if it's 1% of us or 10% of us, we're going to realize that, hey, we need to get back to Africa and figure it out and make some moves, because we're limited on opportunities and options. And why this waste away the hard-earned money that we've worked in this country, some of us 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Why not, why just let this go away? Why not just invest in the future and invest in something sustainable, to where we can kind of define a different direction for our people, to where, like I mentioned, we can literally put ourselves in, for the first time in a long time, to be able to compete with the rest of the world, versus just being, in a situation where you need everybody else to build everything for you, and then you just, you just become the usual life in America with us customers. We're earning, and we're giving back to the system, and we just basically maintaining our own insanity and our own oppression, and which is for the people who created the system and put the infrastructure and the business in place and create the tax laws. Beautiful for them, absolutely. But it's like, are we going to just fall to the same victim on our own continent in Africa, fall to the same system that other people are going to create?
Right.
And define our wages and what you're limited to make, and create conditions to where you either deal with it or you lose your employment. So those are things at stake, family. So that's why we have these in-depth conversations. And while you and I are talking, I'm just seeing if anybody have anything positive to share, or have any questions for you. And let me check to see if you posted your information. All right, I'll look back. All right, when you post it, let me know, and I'll post it up here as far as what we talked about the food earlier. But let me know if you have anything to share based on what I've seen. And beyond that, I can move to the next question, and then another video, and then let me know how your time.
I think you summed it up great. Yeah. Forgive me, I can't do two things at once with my internet connection.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we don't want to lose you.
I will send you that information.
We don't want to lose you.
No, I don't want to jeopardize that at all. But absolutely, I agree with your sentiments 100%. It's a nation of people, the diaspora, who is looking for a home. That's essentially what it is, right? Whether we want to admit it or not, because how many times have we heard people speaking of us in America to say, go back to Africa? Does that not say that you're not welcome here? I don't know what would say that better than that. So if I'm not welcome here, where am I welcome? And if it is West Africa coming as a nation of people together to make that happen, yes, we must, no matter what the obstacles may be, we have to put our energy together as one to get it done. It's just that simply put.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking in that aspect, the next question would tie things in because what we're doing is building a future for our children. You know, whether it's your children or someone else's children, it's our children as Black African people, and it's up to it's always up to the current generations to define the future, and get them ready. That's our responsibility, social and just direct responsibility if we care about the future of our race and our people.
That's right.
Yeah, the coons are coming out live and direct. The trolls. It's amazing because I'm always telling people, if you're not feeling what we're talking about, what we're saying, why spend 2 hours listening to us? But if you're gonna do that, hey, I'm hoping that you learn something, because we're very positive, productive people, and we're sacrificing a lot in our life to be pioneers in making this move to Africa. Because our sister could tell you more than I can tell you, because she actually gave up an incredible life that she built in America, which most of us do, and made that move in Africa to pioneer a future for us and a future for our children. And most people, they're good in their life. They don't have to move anywhere, do anything. But that shows you the love that we have. And I tell people, if nothing else, look at our actions. And I'm always telling people, no matter what people are going to say about us, because I tell people I can't keep up with all the kind of things that people do. Because when you're popular on YouTube and you're in a certain movement, some people feel it's best to create nasty YouTube channels and use some of what you have on there to build themselves up to get attention. Because one thing I'll say, I lived in Jamaica, born in Jamaica, lived in Jamaica. Lived most of my life in America and been to many parts of Africa and the Black world. And our people in general love drama. We love gossip and soap operas and things like that. And if you're doing well and somebody come out with a video like, they finally got him, he fell. It's like, you're waiting for people's downfall. But I'm always telling people, appreciate the ancestors, because they blessed us and put us in a situation where we can make these moves, and they protect us from the evil and the wickedness. So you can try your best and your hardest. That's why I tell you, after a while, eventually you'll convert yourself and join the movement of because you're going to realize that it's going to benefit you, your children, and you're going to have the best time of your life when we build all the things that we need to build in Africa. Because I go to, you go to other people, parts of their world. Like example, another popular part of the world is like Dubai. People just love places like that and similar places like that. I tell people we probably never built anything like that. We'll probably build our own unique greatness. But at the same time, too, for those who want to wait, keep on waiting. That's fine. We'll build. We're gonna build something special, and you're gonna love it. To where you can bring your family, your friends, and enjoy a beautiful Africa. And I do understand some people, you're scared, you're frustrated, and you're in those situations. And yes, I do understand. But you can keep being spectators, which is fine, because we are always going to give you a show. We're always going to share with you what we're doing. And I just do that unapologetically, because I feel like, number one, I have family in Jamaica that have never been to any of these places we have been. And sometimes they're like, they live life vicariously through you. And because sometimes not all of us in the family are going to get certain opportunities. So I try to just take advantage of them as much as possible and share, like, hey, family, let's evolve. Let's step outside the box. Let's not just like be a one-dimensional people. Because last I remember, all the people in the world, as far as just enterprises, resorts, and so on, their goal is always to build a global connection. Like example, when I tell people about I don't think I've ever been anywhere in the world and I've not seen a Marriott. And that's as a global brand.
Yeah.
That, whether you're in Brazil or whether you're somewhere in Southeast Asia, but it's like other people are building a global brand. So I tell people in America, don't hate on us because we're moving to Africa. Because I know some people, they're confused, like straight up. They're like, why is this guy always in Africa? Why why don't you go back to Jamaica and go do something there? Like, I mean, it is. I honestly, I tell people I don't even take it personal because I do understand their ignorance and their frustration of just, of being failures in society and life. And you don't have to be a failure in society and life. What we do have to do is be competitive. Yes, the odds are against you. It's what it is. There's not much I can tell you that it's always just going to be. It's you're going to come up with something magical. But that's why we support the grassroots and grassroots business, and that's why we encourage for people to create grassroots business, be innovative, be creative, and network with your own people and build and figure it out and compete and deal with the things that we have to deal with, from racism to being discriminated against, and understand, hey, our ancestors were fighters. That's why you and I are right here as brave warriors here. We're
That's right.
we're the descendants of our survivors of of the African Holocaust and of all the struggles our people have been through, and that's something to be proud of. And
Yep.
and it's just like the white European Jews use that to like one of their greatest feats, to where they don't even let you even say nothing negative against it, or they're coming at you. And I'm not saying that we'll get to that level, but I want people to understand, hey, take pride in our struggle. And that's why wherever I go, whatever country, I always share the African Holocaust, whether it's museums or whether it's go to Cape Coast or Elmina Holocaust dungeons, and tell people, hey, it's part of the program, just like nightlife, shopping, networking, and things like that. And it's just like going places and not just doing a bunch of things and not putting anything in your head. So if there's museums, we go to museums, and if there's cultural energy, we experience it. It's a full scape and scale of this experience in Africa to all aspects of it. And then just be saying, hey, you know what, family, I've experienced certain things, and let's move forward to the greener pastures of life. And I'm encouraging people just to think about Liberia in that notion as I begin to do more and more studying and realizing that it's been overlooked, unfortunately. But that's what we're here to do, is shed the light on Liberia.
That's right.
Yes,
It's incredible.
we're on 2 hours. I'm hoping not holding you too long. I do have one more video to play, and then let me just.
It's okay.
It's okay. All right, perfect. So when you're ready to go, when time is ticking in, if we're going over too far, just let us know, because we're historically known for doing long live streams. And people say, why don't you do 20-minute videos and 30-minute videos? Things that I was like, absolutely. The presentation shorter than a few minutes also. But ultimately, the things that we're talking about on our, is on our website in core details. But what we have is this in-depth dialogue. So the next question I have for you is, how do you see the future of the Liberian children? Do they have what they need to compete with the world, or compete with the rest of Africa?
That is such a multi-layered question, honestly, Bonnie. And prior to me joining the live stream, I asked one of the young men that work for me, who I've kind of adopted as my grown son, that same question. And I wanted to hear what his perspective was as someone who was born and raised here in Liberia post-war. And to be truthful, from my observations and based off of what his feedback was as well, I think right now, at present day, the children of Liberia, they don't have a whole lot of depth regarding the specific technical skills that are necessary for a viable workforce of any economy. However, I do see that there's more of a movement towards just gaining more of the hard skills necessary to employ yourself, which is not a bad thing. Simply because when you're accustomed to almost like a plantation mindset, which is you have to go to school, graduate, get into debt for a 4-year degree that'll leave you at the end of the 4 years working as a waitress or at a coffee shop just so you can pay back the loans from the degree that you got, which isn't really going to give you the necessary skills to get a job. I mean, that's what it was like in America. And just understanding that has kind of made its way here to Liberia. And I think a lot of that is due to the American influence that is here, which is, no, you've got to go to college and get a degree. And then what do you do with it? So just understanding that that has been the push, very similar to what the push has been in America for a number of decades. So that's the main reason I don't think that the children are set up specifically for great success to compete with other children within their peer groups in places like, let's say, the metropolitan areas of Nigeria or Ghana. And I think it's due specific to not just primary education, but very specific to hard skills education. And that's, I'm talking about trades and things to really gear you towards um, gaining an education on something that can just quickly translate to self-sufficiency. And my background is in economic development, where I specifically focused on workforce development as being a part of a bigger plan to attract and expand businesses in South Florida. So I'm fully aware of the necessity of a viable workforce and understanding that it's a combination of a couple of things. It's number one, hard skills, technical skills that are necessary. Number two, soft skills are completely necessary for any person to globally compete on any scale. And number three is, of course, the appropriate opportunities that come from a lot of the private sector. When a private sector is coming into a community to create jobs, they're not coming anywhere. And this is what I would say in my speeches all the time in America. No company is going to relocate based off of incentives, whether they be financial or land incentives or tax incentives. They are coming to an area specifically because they will have the people that they can hire to make their business run. And I think that if we are now coming together as a focus, that's one of the key areas that is going to be necessary here in West Africa for us to compete as a people, is to ensure that there is this overarching push towards helping our children get the necessary skills and education that translates to immediate employment, and also just ensuring that we're doing our best to build up the small scale businesses, moving them into medium stage and moving on to stage past that. I think that that's important for any community that is looking for economic development, and whether that be a small community or a large country like Liberia. If we have enough people that are moving towards the same goal of creating employment opportunities and education opportunities for those employees, there's always going to be success financially for the entire community. But I understand that that is something that is just not evident here right now, but that doesn't discourage me one bit. Simply because once you get here, Bamini, you're going to see for yourself that the Liberian population is so young and so vibrant, and what that translates to is great workers. People are always looking for a job here, and it's not because they can't keep one. It's just simply because there aren't enough opportunities available. And that's where we come in, to make sure that we're doing our small part to ensure that we're not only hiring people, but also training them, but training them not just on the specific tasks they need to complete for us as business owners, training them on more cross skills. And, you know, my family and I, we take pride in doing that, ensuring that the people that work for us, they're not just doing that one task that we need them to do, just training them on different things so that the whole company can be cross-trained on doing, you know, functions of everyone's job, which, number one, that will help our business run smoothly, but also it gives people an opportunity to just take pride in learning a new skill, developing that new skill, and using that new skill to their advantage. I'm not one of those people that, I'm not a selfish business owner where I'm saying, if I hire you, I'm expecting you to be a slave to me now for 10, 15, 20 years. Absolutely not. The key is that you come and you work for our family, and you feel the love that we're going to be putting into the investment that we invest in the people that work for us. And after that, the goal is for you to run your own business. And I tell that to our head chef all the time. Mary is going to be great when you're running your own restaurant. This is what you're going to be doing. These are the things that you have to be mindful of when you're working with people working for you, or you're dealing with budgeting and necessarily. However, we are so mindful are the skills that we want to help with developing the people that work for us, simply because we know that it's going to affect them and their family even more. So I just had to share that with you, that yes, the ability for the children here to compete in 2023 globally may not be as strong as other places, but because there's so many people in this age range of 18 to 30, I think that that's a great start to just understanding that we have the availability of the workforce here, and it's just a matter of more people just pushing towards helping the development of skills of that workforce that's available right here, ready right now. That's my answer.
Yes, impressive breakdown. Literally, so family, as our sister mentioned, basically we've got to get people ready, and we have to be a part of that participation. We can't just sit back, hope and pray, and wish Africa the best. So
Right.
so we may not be able to compete on that global scale now, but the goal is even next year or the year after, but the goal is for the future.
That's right.
And I'm trying to see if anybody wants to join us. So family, if you have any questions that you want to post, or if you want to join us, the link is below. So as family, based on the conversation, for those who want to come in and build incredible technical business schools, the opportunities are there. For those who want to create industries where the children can have great economic opportunities, those things are there. So with that, what I want to do is flip other question. So we're on over 10 or 12 questions, but this one is number 10. Is Liberia a country that you recommend Black people in America move to Africa for repatriation and investments? And then other thing that I added on to that was question 11. What are some of the best opportunities that you see in Liberia?
Absolutely. And that question is so great because it truly is tied to an awesome answer. And I'll say that, here in Liberia, as I mentioned earlier, specifically in their constitution, it states that only people of Negro descent can gain citizenship here, can own land here. And that is so important for our brothers and sisters in the States to understand, simply because you have the opportunity to leave the States and come here and establish yourself, number one. And number two, the fact that the US dollar is used here as a currency is incredible, because that translates to the ease of investment for sure. And, I know that we are aware of a lot of neighboring West African countries like Ghana and Nigeria that have people that come to Liberia to work and establish business here simply because of the use of the US dollar. And what that means is that it's a stronger currency that's here in comparison to a lot of West Africa and Africa as a whole. And it works in our favor as people who are accustomed to using the US dollar and are able to freely use it wherever you go. And I know that there are other parts of Africa where it's not so, where you have to, of course, exchange your funds into local currency, and that's just what you have to do. And there's no question, there's no going around it, because the country, their desire is to use just their currency, which is understandable. But here, given the strong tie between America and Liberia, this is the only the West African country that actually has such a strong tie to America, and specifically a strong tie to the US dollar. So that is definitely in our favor as a second point. And then the third is going back to the fact that, it's written in that only people of Negro descent can purchase land here. What that means is that you have this huge opportunity for investment in real estate here. We have these great friends that have been living here for the past going on 8 years now, who have no ties to Liberia whatsoever, but the only tie they do have is their desire to come to a virgin land where they have opportunities in abundance that, of course, is tied to the US dollar. And so they've been here for almost 8 years, like I mentioned, and they glow when it comes to talking about Liberia and the opportunities that are here. And so, just understanding that the real estate is what they deal in, and, they have been tremendously successful doing that simply because you have the ability to invest in land and property. And for any American that is looking at coming to Liberia for real estate investment opportunities, I just want them to know that the biggest need here is for short-term rentals, long-term rentals, anything that has to deal with renting out property here, because that's a big business here. And the key distinction between here and the United States is that people pay their rents here on an annual basis. That's a standard. You don't do monthly rents here. You just don't. You pay on an annual basis. So if you are developing a property for rental purposes, you're going to get your money up front before the person moves in for the whole year. And that's just what it is, versus chasing somebody down month after month for your money. And I think that the development of more turnkey properties is really key here, simply because properties that are more geared towards people from the diaspora to move here. And the great news is that there are actual communities that are popping up here that are geared towards foreigners of Negro descent moving to Liberia to be able to own property. And so that's the one thing I'll say. And just to give a huge shout out to our friends Dentut and Sakar, because they actually wrote a book called Journey Home, Door of Return. And that book is available on Amazon, where they talk about their own experience of coming here from New York and New Jersey area, and just being here, doing real estate here. And just the opportunities, it's wide open for Black Americans here, specifically in Liberia. And again, that strong US dollar in comparison to local currency of other nations is what sets Liberia apart, sincerely, about investment opportunities and just being able to do business here in general. It's incredible to be able to, as a business owner, negotiate prices in US dollars. And at the times when we need to do it in US dollars is what it is. And the US dollar from America goes a lot longer of a way here. It's like taxation, triple taxation that occurs in America that just isn't a thing here. So that's my answer.
Sharina, appreciate it, sister. Appreciate it. You've been a wealth of knowledge and information. I mean, I just don't know how to thank you for this sharing this valuable information, because a lot of times these things aren't broken down, and that's why we have to have in-depth calls, dialogue. For those who wonder why we just do these long programs. And because you have to, you got to get into it, and we have a whole lot to talk about. So, sister, appreciate it, and family. Just want you to know that it's a long, hard road to travel, especially when you take that long flight. But that's the beginning of that journey, and it's more beginnings. And we have our good brother,
she said
College Genesis here. Go ahead, brother.
Sister, welcome, Sister Sharina Coleman.
Hi.
Thank you for your analysis and everything. I said, I don't know, who I am and whatnot. College Genesis. I'm always in Liberia. I love the country. I wrote the first historical novel in Liberia called Journey to the Promised Land, Voyage of Barkazor. Some people want to make it into a movie. It's about the Exodus of 1878 and stuff like that. My wife's Liberian, and I just got back from Liberia 2 weeks ago. And like I said, what she said is absolutely thing. And people don't have any idea. People start to go. There's a video on YouTube called The Hidden Gem. People have no idea the opportunity that's in Liberia. That's unmatched anywhere on the African continent for Black America. Not only that, the culture, right, is very welcoming. You forget. We're in Africa. We honor Africa, but it's not like when you hear from it. Oh, I got Even to this day, well, you got to, if you want to move up in Ghanaian society, you got to get into the Ghanaian culture. When you go to Liberia, it's our culture and African culture mix. It's like being in Detroit, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Harlem, and the Congo at the same time. You know, it's like Africa and Black America mixed together. You know, it's like driving from Detroit to Zululand. You know, driving to Detroit to Benin. You know, that's what you feel when you get in Liberia. You're in Africa and you're part of Black the diaspora. You know, the Pan-African diaspora, the African American and the Caribbean all at one time, you know? And so, like I said, it's a dynamic country. What I mean by dynamic means ever growing, ever changing, ever evolving. You know, that's what it means by that. It's not stagnant, you know? And people will love Liberia as a place that, like I said, it's Africa made easy. You know? The people there, when they see your Black people from America, they're welcoming. They know what you want. They know you like running water. They know you like nice restaurants. They know you like things. You know, they know you love Afrobeat and you love your own hip hop in America. They know you love gospel music. You know, they know you're pretty much Christian or you're Muslim and everything. They know you're a Garveyite. You know, they know about Malcolm X. They know about that. They know us. You know, what more you have ever? And then the country is absolutely spectacularly beauty is unmatched anywhere I've ever seen, you know? And I've been in a lot of places in my life. The country, the topography of the country, the beaches, everything, when you drive through the country, is absolutely stunningly beautiful, you know? And there's a peace and a calm in the country, you know? And in America, there's so much turbulence. People have so much in America, but they're so turbulent and everything. But the people in Liberia are just so peaceful. It reminds me of my childhood youth going to North Carolina in my youth. You know, that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm going back in time to those summers in the South. When we go down south for the summer, you know, that's what it reminds me of, you know? So I can tell people all the time, this is
Akala, you still there?
yeah.
There you go, Akala. You're back.
Well, I actually hit the freaking leave button by accident. I was getting so excited. I hit the exit button.
Before you continue, Sharina, this is my good brother, Kala Genesis, and he's the one that we do this program with also, Pan-Africanism towards nationhood, which is this connecting a bunch of us to have this dialogue that we're having about Pan-Africanism and nationhood. And what you see on the screen is Journey to the Promised Land, Voyage of the Bark Azor. And this is the author himself, and his book is also posted on Amazon. So the things that you talk to me about, once I get them, you know, I'll have them to where we can post to let people know that, you know, we're talking about profound brothers and sisters here in America that's trying to do wonderful things in Africa. But Kala Genesis, go ahead and introduce your book and say the other things you wanted to say. You know.
Okay, yeah, my book is called Journey to the Promised Land. The Talberts, the family, came on the Azor in 1878. And the book has been read by the Talbert family. I met with Stephen Talbert when I was there. There 2 years ago, but last time I didn't go there. What's beautiful about what's going on since I came out, right? And I'm not trying to brag on myself or anything, right? I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm not trying to boast of myself. I'm a very humble person, but some things need to be known, right? 10 years ago, I formed an organization called the Association of African Americans for Liberia. Why? Because I knew sooner or later, Liberia fever was going to hit, you know? So I went to get on it 10 years back in 2011. That's 12 years ago. Okay. And I began researching for this novel, right? I've been putting my work together in Liberia. I said, Liberia is going to be the next frontier for Black America. I predicted that. And I was right, you know? And so, like I said, when I wrote the book and everything, published in 2014, right? The Talbert family liked it and everything like that. It says, yeah, it talks about their grandfather, the Talbert, that came on the Azores and stuff like that. It's a fictional novel. You know, but what I did was I used real situations, real stories. I took a hodgepodge of different stories, like the King Massaquoi, who married the Johnson's daughter. The King Massacre in 1920. What I did was I bumped it up a little early and made one of the girls of the ship, the Ophelia, the lover of Prince Massacre, and they the Vi family, the Vi tribe, into the Vi tribe. So it's a very beautiful novel. Many things in there. There's romance, everything. It puts you in 19th century Liberia. Then the end of the novel, it puts you in 1978 Liberia, right before the turmoil in 1979. So the bottom line is, like I said, it's a beautiful book and everything. I urge you to anybody to get the book and read it and everything like that. And also, it's very therapeutic. Like when I forgot to bring my book, the book this time, right? But I like going into the book, right, and reading while I'm in Liberia, right, and reading what my ancestors felt when they finally got peace and sanctuary. And then I'm sitting there enjoying what my ancestors enjoyed 200 something years ago, And so, like I said, I don't think, I honestly, and this is no shade to anybody to go to other parts of Africa. I like that. The idea that a country was founded that was never occupied by Europeans, the land was defined by us, our ancestors and everything. I don't think I could get that feeling, I don't feel like a foreigner when I go to Liberia. I don't. I feel like I'm at home. And sometimes I feel guilty about that, I feel guilty. I'm like, well, America did so much for me and whatnot. But why do I feel at home in Liberia? I really do feel at home. I feel like that's where I belong, and I'm like, wow, it's like, wow. It's like when you go over to your friend's house and everything, and then you step in your house, you're like, oh, okay, I'm home now, You can relax. That's what that feeling you get with Liberia, and like I said, I look at other people and everything like that. They got to go, oh, I got to learn this language. I got to learn that. I got to switch my currency into the local currency and do thou, this, that. In Liberia, I was completely free. I was completely free. And so that's what I want to say about that.
Brother Color Genesis, man, always a classic, man. Appreciate the introduction and appreciate the encouragement and appreciate the connection of just explaining these things to our audience over and over about the importance of our reconnection to Liberia. My good sister, let me get her back on. Sharina, so that is my good brother Color Genesis, my partner in the Liberia Connection and the person who have been encouraging me for about
2 years.
6 years, about a good 6 years before this.
6 years.
6 years, initially, and then over the last year we've been working on this. I'm always telling them that you're right on point, brother. I'm happy that we're able to find a nice slot and a nice energy for us to do this. And now that we're doing it to the highest level. So my sister Sharina and Color Genesis, I'm sure you got questions for each other.
Yeah. Also, what I want to know is this: what I'm doing, I'm opening up an office in Liberia very, very soon. Open up an office in Liberia, the BAO office, the Liberia chapter. But I'm incorporating Liberia, so I have a crew on the ground, stuff like that do a lot of work for me in Liberia and stuff like that. What we want to do is one of the things we want to do is do a real estate investment, but not ourselves. What we want to do is work with a real estate investment company, right? Maybe we have a finder's fee or something like that, right? And we want to make because my partner Ross already does real estate, but not on the level like what the sister was just saying, where you got people trying to build these planned communities to specifically target Black people from America, on that level. That's what I would like to start with, right? And remind you, we could start like that, right? And people are all like the one sister that her name starts with a Z, that's on YouTube, and she has a sister that just came from Dallas, Fort Worth, and just bought some property in her venture and whatnot. The word is getting out, there's going to be more and more African Americans that want to come to, like, and Caribbeans, whoever, diasporas that come to a thing. So this is going to be a big boom, right? And what we want to do is initially link up with already existing, so we're not all competing with each other. At least from an African American standpoint. What I would like to do is empower the Liberians first. Empower the Liberians first. Use their real estate companies, use their stuff like that. To sell rental properties and everything. Like get people to rent. Stuff like that. People that want to come over there, maybe they want to buy a property.
but the rent is really cheaper. Like you can get a house, a luxury house, $200 a month, right? $2,000 a year, $2,400 a year, pay it up for a year, and you're good, you know. And that's maybe all you want. Maybe you just want to rent a summer home every time you come over there. What, $2,000 a year for what? Maybe you might want to go over there for a month, come back, and everything like that, or rent or sub-rent it out for Airbnb. Well, there's all kinds of opportunity, you know. And like I said, what I want to do basically is, you know, any BAO members and stuff like that want to come over, I want to steer them to already existing operations. I have no desire to start a real estate company or anything like that. I'm like this. I want to empower. I want to basically encourage the ones that's already out there, right, and steer them to credible people that got property, that's developing houses, that's building stuff like that. And all these young, dynamic Liberian developers that's coming back, I'm seeing, it just delights my heart that these Liberians, man, in their 30s, their 20s and 30s and 40s are going back to Liberia and building their country unapologetically. And this is what I will say before I dropped off. The Tolbert and Bentall, they have a settlement called Bentall, Benson and Tolbertville, you know. And my boy Sam, my partner Sam Cooper, had dinner, Easter Sunday dinner with Stephen Tolbert, right? He was talking to him. And of course, my name always comes up and whatnot. Oh, yeah, Colin, yeah, you know, my name came up and went, oh, yeah, we know Colin and everything like that, you know, talking about me. Anyway, but the bottom line is this. The people are starting to embrace the success of their ancestors. If the indigenous people can be proud of their heritage and whatnot, we have a proud heritage of the pioneers that came from America and the diaspora and built. You know, people are scared to go back to Bentall. Oh, man, when people get mad at us. Now we're saying to everybody, Liberia's open to everybody, right? If you're an indigenous person, you got land in the hinterland, you could deed that land and do the same thing the Congo people did, you know? There's opportunity for everybody. There's no sense of anybody being jealous of anybody because there's opportunity for everybody. So therefore, I'm proud of the fact that some of our ancestors that came to Liberia are now asserting themselves. You know, they're asserting themselves. They're taking like the Ure girl, you know, Ure. They're asserting themselves. They're opening businesses, right? They're getting out and saying, yes, this is my country. You know, I know you had a coup in 1980, but we had blood on this soil. You know, this is our ancestors. We had a constitution. This country is free for a reason. The only country in Africa that's really free, you know? And it's the bottom line. It's time for us to because like I said, the ancestors who built Liberia had us in mind. You know, that this is going to be a place where people could come from around, black people come from around the world and build, you know, and build a new society, a dynamic society, you know, so.
Yes, College Genesis, appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you laying it out as far as just you know, the importance and you know, the foundation our ancestors laid. Sharina, you have anything to follow up or in reference to what College Genesis was talking about?
I don't. I think that I'm just so excited by the energy from this conversation. It gives people hope, whether you're considering coming to Liberia or you're here in Liberia. It's hope in both directions. So it's incredible. And I commend both of you gentlemen for doing your part in just infusing that energy into people who just don't know anything about this place. So thank you.
Yes.
Sincerely.
Yes. That's our job. That's our duty. It's our like if our ancestors go over there and when I was on Providence Island, man, I figured I had this guy hold the phone. He didn't get the kid. I drank from that well. I said, I'm about to drink from the well of my ancestors who first came here in 1822, the well on Providence Island, right? And I thought I had it on camera, man. And the freaking guy didn't freaking turn the record button on. You know, I was so freaking mad. So I can't do it twice, right? Because that would be inauthentic. This is my first drink. You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to say? This is my second drink, you know? So I was like, man, you missed the moment, man. God dang, man, you know? I said, so the well water was sweet, you know? So if our ancestors could go through all that and persevere, it was what's called Perseverance Island, right? They could do all that, right? If they could fend off and go to war with hostile people and Europeans and everything like that, the least we could do is honor them, you know, by basically saying, yes, let's basically make Liberia, let's incorporate Liberia into Black America. It's time. Why is Liberia not talked about? Well, years ago, Liberia is now it's the Black African American Encyclopedia. Liberia is included now. You know, the African American, all but Liberia is included right there. But I'm worried about the Smithsonian because we didn't have anything to do with that. I haven't been to the African American Museum of Sonia, but I want to know why something like Liberia, right, which is definitely part of Black America, is not included, right? Liberia is just as part of Black America as Harlem and Detroit was, you know? And so we have to fight for that, to get that inclusion, that Liberia is part of the African American experience, you know? Our experience in America don't end with the borders of America. You know, it doesn't end up with the boundaries of America. You know, and that's been the problem. You know, and like I said, no shade against Ghana, but they're hijacking the movement of the year return. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. We said, well, Kwame Nkrumah. Well, y'all rejected Kwame Nkrumah. You know, I'm not trying to be divisive with that like that. But how are they getting all the shine with that? It was Liberia that was the sanctuary for Black America, only up until like 1980. You know, that was always the promised land. You know, so we have to revisit that. You know, they basically, the people that, like, we did a show 2 nights ago, right, Bomani? And the people, the amount of propaganda against Liberia is staggering. You know, and people are like, I don't want to be the America. They created this fake group called American Liberians that never existed. You know, and they be black on black apartheid, everything. So people are like, I don't want to go to Liberia and whatnot. And so we're saying, let's tell the real story. Let's tell the balanced story of Liberia. And when people find out, hey, it wasn't that bad.
All right, Khaled, did we lose you? All right, so we'll just wait till he come back on. But Sharina, that is my brother Khaled Genesis. Isn't he a wealth of knowledge?
Certainly.
And I'm sure you're familiar with all the history and things he's talking about. So we're on the right page. We're on the same page.
That's right.
I had an incoming call. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, brother. We can hear you. I was just telling Sharina. All right, he's off again. All right.
Oh.
But yes, and in a little bit I'll play a video. But we literally went through 11 questions, so literally appreciate you going through them, and just trying to type up as best as I could, just things that was relevant. But the last thing I had was number 12. Where do you see Liberia in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh wow, I didn't hear anything that you just said. Sorry, it came in distorted.
Where do you see Liberia in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay. Yes, your last question on the list. So, personally, I see Liberia as number 1, stronger economy. Number 2,
All right, let our sister reconnect, and this is the question. It is the last, and so once she connects back, we're going to talk about. We're going to ask our sister Sharina, where do you see Liberia in the next 5 to 10 years? And one of the things that we can build better in the world all over is better internet technology. We have 2 people that have been internet connections, one in Liberia and one in Virginia. So it's the journey for advanced technology continues. While we wait for our reconnection, so family, this is the journey that we're talking about, Liberia Reconnection and Investment Tour Journey, March 29th to April 9th, 2024. So as you see the scroll down the bottom, that is our website, email address, and phone number. You have any interest, you send a message, reach out, and then ultimately to review or view the details, once you're on our website at africafortheafricans.org, you just click on the Liberia journey, and once you click on that journey, open up and you can just view the full details. All right, so there you have it. That is our website, africafortheafricans.org, and that is where you're going to find the information for the Liberia Journey of a Lifetime. So what I'm going to do is just repost that question that we have. So Sharina, that is the question right there that I have, and that is number 12 of 12. Where do you see Liberia in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so I think within 5 to 10 years, Liberia would be a completely different place. Honestly, I've seen the trans.
Little sister reconnect. All right, so family, we won't have long. We will be closing shortly. I just want to get the final question that we have. Just go through that and just play 1 or 2 more videos, and then we're done for this another day of Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. And we're always here working, so do our best to tune in and share with you live conversation and live updates as far as this movements and what we are building. Greetings, Jughead. Welcome to Pan-Africanism towards nationhood.
Greetings, sir. I'm sorry for my late arrival. I'm always late. I do apologize profusely.
Late. I mean, this is not a scheduled operation. We just do live shows, especially when we can just make some time to do live shows. We're always working. And I mean, it's a 24/7 operation of just repatriation investment. And I have people that I need to get back to help with consultation or other business and tours, repatriation, tickets, or something. So we just do these shows. So whenever you or anyone else that can connect or come on, always appreciate the energy. So I'm not sure if you've been listening, watching, and following what we're talking about. But below is the topic, Liberia Reconnection and Investment in Pan-Africanism. In a Pan-African country built by Africans from the Americas, Bomani Tayamba and Sharina Coleman. So Sharina is having internet issues, but we went through a series of over 12 questions, and she repatriated from America to Liberia. So we've been talking about the Liberian experience and talking about the future and the incredible opportunities people have. But anyway, brother, what is on your mind?
So thank you for last Sunday's broadcast. I enjoyed it. And immensely.
Absolutely, you know what we do.
Yeah. I'm at work. Let me just get to a quieter place. I'm at work at the moment. I'm doing my slaving. Yeah, but again, thank you for your broadcast, your work, we appreciate it. You know, your inspiration. You out there, put your money where your mouth is. And you, Sister Sharina, also doing the works, showing an example of Pan-Africanism, not rhetoric, works, and and you bring receipts. So what can I say? We appreciate it, yeah, we bring receipts as usual. No rhetoric, no BS, pure receipts. No Afrodamus, no Nigerian. We don't see these fools. No Afrodamus, Nigerian, Let them go away. We don't hear from those people. These people should stay away from our channel, our spaces. We come here to get away from people like those people. They're coons. So again, Bamani, thank you for your examples of Pan-Africanism, not rhetoric. You bring receipts, hard work. That's appreciated. Thank you, brother.
Yes, brother, but I wanted you to talk about the program that we just, well, we're not finished yet. The program that we were talking about, that whole energy of just building the energy in a Pan-African country that our ancestors built because they knew we were going to get into this repatriation and investment in Africa movement, and we needed a foundation to operate from.
Brother Bamani, yes, because Brother Bamani, look, Africa, as I said on Sunday, everyone's moving to Africa for a reason. It's not because they want to get a suntan, because that's the future. When the dollar crashes, if you're in America and you haven't got any receipts, you've not got any wealth, you'll be in trouble. African Americans are already at the bottom, not because they're lazy, but because they're all structural racism. If the dollar crashes and you're not prepared, my God, even here you can also, we've got networks, gold and silver, or land, we grow food, collective prosperity, you'll be wiped out. So, so Africa's the future. The BRICS nations, Russia, China, South America, Middle East, plus also particularly Africa. That's the main bread basket,
That's it, brother. I appreciate it because you're another person that's letting people know that, hey, Africa is the foundation and the future. So let's get with it and let's make some moves. So this is our Liberia Reconnection family, and we're gonna play another promo Liberia video. So brother, once we share this video, you just let me know what you feel or what you see, what you think, and everything that I'm showing you, family, is a foundation for us to build this thing stronger. For those of you watching, we do different countries, different energy. We do conference call with all the countries we have. And last program I was on, we were talking about specifically about Egypt. So whenever people hear me not talking about Ghana, they think something is up or something is wrong. What we're doing in Ghana is fine, and it's I appreciate the country of Ghana and the opportunities that we've been able to have to just make things work. And and it's we didn't get this far without our trials and tribulations. So when I'm connecting with operations as far as tourism or investment, I'm coming from a level of this experience and to create a better program for other countries where we can get our people from the African diaspora to this connect to Africa. And that's what we specialize in. I always tell people when they go to the website, it's right there, Africa for the Africans, tourism investment. That's right to the point that people know what we're about. So we're looking to do the next incredible tours and investment operation in Liberia. So here's another promo video, and you can enjoy it, and then we'll just reconnect back to the program.
In the wilderness of West Africa's largest remaining rainforests are amazing discoveries. Explore Liberia's breathtaking beaches. Thrilling Green Mountains. Cascading waterfalls amidst rich biodiversity. Unique confluences. Up close and personal encounters with nature. Unparalleled point breaks and impressive waves. adventure-filled rainforests. Discovered an authentic exotic cultural mix of unparalleled traditions and heritage. Meet the friendliest and most free-spirited people. Visit Liberia. Experience our openness, authenticity, and optimism that will keep you longing and coming back for more, again and again and again. Liberia, amazing discoveries, the new tourism brand of Liberia.
The Liberia tourism brand and marketing strategy have been developed with the technical support of the International Trade Center in partnership with the government of Liberia and the United Nations World Tourism Organization under the Liberia Tourism Development Project, funded by the Enhanced Integrated Framework Program.
Yes, brother, we are back. We are back and back strong. Hopefully you enjoyed a nice promo video. Hopefully the audience, anyone who's watching, enjoy that. That's me pushing that energy to build up an energy for, for those who are interested to join us on another journey of a lifetime. And this time we're going to be in Liberia. So go ahead, my brother. Give me some feedback. How you feeling now? Do you like the promo energy? You're gonna join us in Liberia?
But let me see what when is it? What I missed the first. Oh, okay. When is it? Is it summertime? I can't see the. Yeah,
if we can see now.
I can see it now. Yeah. Oh, April. March, April. Okay. But Bamani, first of all, my feedback on the your swoop promo. In fact, West Africa is so beautiful. I mean, brother Bamani, the lush rainforest, the beaches. You know, I'm sitting in cold, rainy London. But we always want to go home. You know, to see that the warm weather, the warm smiles, the beach, the sea. I'm stuck here in cold, grey England. And put up with this shit, part of my language. If you don't want to go back, to Africa after seeing that, something wrong with you. If you don't want to go home after seeing what you just shown, there's something wrong with you. You need your head tested. So yeah, brother. I mean, if not this time, you don't meet up physically. I said before, I promise you, Brother Carl Genesis, you and I will meet up physically this year because we've got to meet up and discuss things off air. Some things we've got to discuss on air, some things you discuss off air. We've got to make plans. You don't enemies watching. We've got to discuss everything on air. I've got plans which I will discuss with you face to face, not on the platform because everyone's watching. But yeah, brother, if not this April, March, sometime you and I'll meet up with Liberia because even if to visit, it's so beautiful. What you shown. West Africa is beautiful. I mean, Africa as a whole, but especially West Africa with its foliage, the West Coast beach vibe. It's fantastic. So I'm at work, but yeah, Mamani, yeah. What can I say? Thumbs up. What more can I say?
Well, that you're gonna join us in Liberia and for another journey of a lifetime.
But is that 2024 next year?
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Yes. Listen, Bamani, we got witnesses. I'm saying now, April the 27th, 2023. I will join you. I can't back out now. It's on camera. I can't back out now. You got witnesses.
Absolutely, brother. But yeah, you and I can definitely talk. You can always just send me a WhatsApp message and then I'll just bring you from there and so on.
Yeah.
Let's talk and dialogue. But trying to make sure that we just share with people that we're making these moves and we're serious about it.
Yeah.
So let me know if you have any questions about it. And what I'm gonna be doing is closing. And then we're gonna reconnect with everyone at another time.
Yeah, but yeah, what questions I have, I'll talk to you off air. As before, we've discussed, we've conversed before, off air. I'll do it again. I have questions because I apologize for calling late. I do apologize. I mean, I'm at work, so sister, I couldn't interact with her. I'd love to hear her questions, her experience. I've been in Africa. I'd love to hear her experience, but she's gone. But I should have called her earlier. It's my fault, my bag. But we have questions I have in my mind. I'll ask them to you off air. We'll discuss things before. And next time I'll call her earlier. Sister Sharina, you know, her experiences, I mean, she's bold. She's taking a bold step. Even the comforts of a first world country, go back home to motherland, fatherland, you know. She's putting in the work. She's, you know, I'm still stuck in the Babylon, but, you know, we got to get resources where we can. I'm not working legally. I'm at work now. You know, I'm at work. I can't, you know, I'm not a rich man. I pay my bills. But, you know, but I promise you, brother, we'll meet up soon. Before next year, if I come to the States, I'll meet you with brother Caligenesis, brother Brandon, and whatever, break bread, eat burger, catch up. Or remember you come to London, you know, set my place, whatever. Let me know if you ever come to London. You know, and but yeah, next year I'm up for it. Next year I've got no excuse now. I'm working. I've got savings. I've got no excuse. We've got a year to prepare. What's my excuse? You know, so I'll be there next year with you. Hopefully, maybe you, brother Caligenesis, Brandon, you know, everyone. Judah, what's it last week? The Judah brother last week.
Oh, no, yeah, it was a little few days ago.
The Supreme Judah.
Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm always telling people when they look in the comment section, it's just like nothing but trolls. I mean, these people must have nothing better to do because they hate on you, but they sit there for several hours and listen to your program.
I mean, if you guys,
I mean, the only thing is that I hope they learn something because we're very productive, progressive, and we're always, you know, we're visionaries and we're, you know, leaders, organizers, and people who are just living the life we talk about.
You're right, because look, I mean, for the past 5 decades, not you and I, but most people have been just talking. That's why nothing's hardly been done.
There's too much of them that time, you know. You got to show and prove what you're about, and you got to just update folks and just keep it moving. And I'm always telling people that we have our own source of just our own documentation. So if you want to find out what we're doing, check us out on social media, or, you know, link me or check out our website. Other than that, be careful of the gossip that people are saying and running their mouth, because jealousy, envy is, you know, it's deadly wicked sins. And you have a lot of haters out there, and they come out because they upset that you know, maybe they still got 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they're trying to come up, so they want to come at you and thinking that's gonna build their game. So yeah, I have a lot of phonies out there, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, family, we're gonna keep it real and keep it strong. So thank you for joining us on another live stream on Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. Take care, family, and we will connect with you next time. And then we're gonna close out with some beautiful music, Sons of Africa by Melanie Ganji.
Sons of